So, Sam, Vaco. Where we
Yes.
last left off, you were in the middle of the meeting with the Gala, along with your two friends, Timothy Thomas and, of course, Celtegris, the bear and the drow. The rest of your party, half of them basically just departed and left for the platform that was host to the Terraformer, or not host to it, but built around it. You've spent the majority of your free time just conversing with the minor individuals here. Go ahead and give me a diplomacy check real quick.
Um,
You're dancing, you're mingling, you're having fun.
okay. Party. Yeah. Everyone else, was on the ship last session. I'm all by myself. Uh,
Oh, nice.
So, as you start talking and mingling with people, you eventually get to a point where you're getting kind of the same thing from all of them. Most of the syndicate individuals here, business owners and lesser nobility, are all kind of in agreement that this isn't that bad. Having a syndicate-owned world within the Zavos system isn't that bad. Maybe, just maybe, in the far future, there could be a partnership between the two empires. And
yeah.
as you are mingling with these people and getting kind of good vibes from all of them, everybody's having a nice time, you hear the first rumble. The ground kind of trembles, and all of the nobles stop for a second. In fact, the central person for this entire gala, the High King of the Draconis Dominion, Tiberius, surrounded by his two guardian lions, kind of perks his head up for a second, almost as if he has seen something that's disturbed him. And almost like clockwork, he mutters something underneath his breath, and all of the nobles start departing. Some of them have to be basically escorted along via soldiers, but for the most part, the houses are now leaving the gala.
It's odd.
You start looking around, staying around. The rest of the syndicate business owners and people of power and position are all just kind of looking around going, there was an earthquake and now people are leaving. I mean, I guess it makes sense this, lesser natural disasters, it wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah.
By the time that the
Um.
last of the nobles have left is about the time when you start hearing gunshots.
Oh shit. Um.
Distant and echoing outside, it sounds like somebody has engaged in a conflict that's just very minor, but is starting to build. Like, there's a few pops and cracks here and there, but it's starting to gather.
We basically just done our business here, right?
As far as you are aware, you look around to your compatriots and you find that both Tim Tom and the Drow start kind of keeling over for a second, almost as if they feel sickened, and then they disappear into ash. And about at that time, you start hearing footsteps, like squeaking polished boots on this wonderful, elegant floor. It's coming along the second levels, and it sounds like it is entering into the central chamber.
Probably want to get out of here since I'm hearing gunshots. I don't. Hmm.
Go ahead and give me a stealth check then. What entrance are you taking? Are you wanting to go upstairs and maybe get out a window, or are you wanting to take the main entrance where all of the gunfire is coming from?
I want to go to a more out of the way place, so I don't get shot at.
Alright, so upstairs you're gonna try and find a hallway and make your way out. Give me a stealth check.
Right.
On 25. Let me go ahead and roll these guys real quick. So, as you start slipping your way up the stairwell, you make it up to that second level and start creeping your way along the pillars. At this point, syndicate business owners are starting to run around and run past you. There's now a forming crowd of people that are starting to become panicked and are trying to look for emergency exits. As you are creeping along, you start hearing the footsteps drawing immediately closer to you, and your first instinct is to press yourself as close to a pillar as possible, hoping that they just slip past you, not checking their sides before each pillar, hopefully. And as one of them passes you, you see that he has weapon bared and is like crossing the hallway. He makes it to the other end and just goes, "This side's clear," before ducking around and sweeping around another way. At this point, you start hearing radio chatter, like people are colluding and searching for something.
What? What the fuck are they searching for?
Do you want to try and investigate that, or get out of here as quickly as you can?
I want to get the fuck out of here.
So you make your way around, slipping through a hallway. You have to stop and check behind a door just to make sure that nobody is there, but as soon as you're sure, you creak it open and start making your way.
Downtown.
As you pass by these different portraits, most of them from Stursk's family, considering that this is his manor, formerly having belonged to a Beldor noble, you make yourself, you make a pretty hasty withdrawal. And by the time that you've reached the end of this chamber, you creak open the door and find that you are in a bedroom, presumably Stursk's, actually.
Yeah.
Just to your north, there appears to be a window, however. Something does kind of catch your eye. Roll a perception check.
Alright.
Oh!
27.
Natural
You see, just kind of with your own keen eye, you start just running down to the window with the full intent to open it and hop out, but you kind of stop and slow for a second as your vision catches a portrait. It is tilted out of alignment by a few degrees, and peeking on the wall, this portrait you assume to... Sorry. Because of the very nature of this, like, tilted portrait, you get a sense that there is something on the wall behind it. And judging from the metallic corner that you see poking out from behind a painting, you assume it's a safe.
Okay. I'm gonna poke around that painting and see what the fuck's there.
Alright. So, you go ahead.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Take your hands, reach over the painting, and pull it off of the wall. It's simply suspended by a wire, so it's kind of like one of those hanging wires for the paintings. You take it off, and do you want to set it on the floor, or set it on the bed, or what?
Just set it right on the floor next to it. You know, just kind of prop it up so it doesn't get damaged or anything.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
reveal
gotta
the
keep it clean.
safe on the wall. It has a digital lock.
Digital lock. I don't think my tools will be able to fuck with this.
It is about that time that you start hearing, "I'll search this room," and you hear
Oh.
the immediate approach of footsteps running into this chamber.
I'm gonna get out of the window.
So, you rush over and put your hands on the window seal and pull, and you find that it is locked. You look up and you see that there is one of those simple switch latches, not
Yeah.
like an actual key lock, but it's just enough to where it's costed you a few precious seconds. And as you're going for the latch, you start hearing the doorway opening.
It's got a latch, window, go.
Alright, so in order to outmaneuver this individual, give me... This is like a swiftness of body. Give me an acrobatics check to get away from these guards. 21. I'll say that that definitely passes the check. You swiftly kind of going like, oh fuck, hit the latch, pull the window open, and just fling yourself out. And there's this moment where wind catches feather, and you are now plummeting from a second-story window down to the ground that is fast approaching.
Uh-oh.
From what you can
Roll
tell, the fence is a bit further out, so you're not going to be able to get outside of the fence, but you have a choice of either grass, a hedge, or flat concrete.
I'm gonna take my chances with the hedge.
You go ahead and with that 21, dive swiftly in the hedge and get, like, cuts and brambles and just tears. But by the time that you make your way out and kind of roll out of the bottom way, you peek your head out of this grassy fucking furniture, essentially, and immediately come face to face with a gardener that is packing up her tools.
So that.
I'm not going to ask any questions. And she picks up her bag and immediately starts leaving.
All right. Just gonna get out of the hedge, climb over the fence, and just get the fuck out.
Yeah, you rush over, going as far as you can, and the gunfire that originally started somewhat minimal is now reaching a pretty deafening roar. In the background, you start hearing fully automatic weapons going off, so it sounds like something's escalating into a bloody conflict. By the time that you have reached the fence, you can tell that this is clearly made to where people are not supposed to be able to be scaling off of this. So what's your plan? The top seems to be covered in a wire of sort, definitely sharp. You're pretty certain that the fence is not electric,
Okay.
judging off of the
Man.
fact that like you didn't see anything like that previously.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can
And
take your go and see if you can make your
mean-
way over it.
I mean, I could if it was electric, I could probably hear like a slow hum of something, right?
I mean, it sounds dead. Sounds fine.
Okay.
Are you gonna take
What,
it?
would you have would you have experience like trying to get over like barbed wire fences?
Are you asking if I personally have experience or if Vaku does?
If Vaku does, I
Does
imagine
he?
he would to some degree.
All right, then what's his
I
plan?
mean, he's probably just gonna take like a little bit of the cloth from like his outfit and just kind of like pat it so like the razors don't like cut him as much as he's like climbing through it.
Fair enough. You're gonna take like your sash and any loose cloth that you've got and try to cover your path.
Yeah.
So
Something like-
you scale your way up, and I will say you will take half of 2d6 for this damage. So that would be half. You rolled minimum on both of them, so I'm going to say 1.5 would just be 2. So as you escape from this place, covered in scratches and bruises, you are now down to 9 points of stamina, but you make it out relatively unscathed. You're not actually wounded. You made it away from the guards, and at this point you are now running away from this manor. You have a couple of directions. You could head towards the lake. You could also just run out into the country where the buggies are, or well, kind of what's your decision?
I'm gonna run towards the buggies and kind of go my communicator and see if I can get through with anyone.
Alrighty. So, as you make your way to the buggies, it doesn't take you that long, but you start feeling a second tremor come through the earth. Your head tilts towards the terraformer, and you start noticing that the lake is beginning to bubble. It is shifting in large quantities and appears to be rippling and bobbing with different waves that definitely seem unnatural. Deep bubbles seem to be emanating from underneath, kind of causing a large white foam to kind of ring around the platforms.
Oh boy.
You go ahead and bring out your communicator, and about this time, as we switch from this scene, detective, you go to kick this moth in the face, but this deranged, tricked, and confused moth quickly ducks and kind of sweeps underneath your leg and immediately goes for the switches.
So I roll in mechanics.
I would imagine you probably should.
Can I make some type of reflex save to pull him away?
Are you just gonna like rush at him and try to grab him?
Basically.
Give me a attack roll. Do you have an
Another
unarmed
attack
strike
roll?
listed?
I do.
Yes.
We actually had to
That
add
needs
one
the
from
rest
last
real
session.
quick.
Here's my engineering.
So, you sweep forward to grab the moth, and immediately he kind of ducks and sweeps out of the way, and immediately starts flipping these switches back into an on position. You had started damaging them, right?
Yeah, I had we had been trying to break the switches.
You were kicking and trying
Yeah,
to
I was-
throw them
yeah,
off of their
I-
bases.
Yeah, I was trying to make them inoperable.
So yeah, as you are attempting to get a hold of this moth, he is slipping and sliding out of your grasp and righting these boxes and screwing them back in and flipping them back on. And it's at this point you get a phone call from your comm unit.
If I have a free hand while I'm trying to grab, can I give a brief glance to see who it's from?
You go ahead and bring it up to your tactical display. Presumably, I don't know what you would manage to do. Your glasses aren't technical yet, but that would be a cool upgrade. I would just say that you bring the phone up and check to see who it is, and you do realize that you are getting a call from Vaku.
I'm going to.
Sam went to the bathroom, though, by the way.
I know that Sam went to the bathroom.
Alright.
I'm just...
Well, I'll wait until he gets back to answer it, but I imagine this is going to be like me desperately trying to get a hold of Yorich with one hand, and with the other hand, I'm just trying to like smack the comm unit against my leg to answer the phone.
By the way, my kinetic AC is actually 12, so...
The DC to beats would be +8 for a total of 20.
Ah, I see.
Not an impossible.
You don't
roll,
have
but
your
close to
second
it.
skin equipped, Tyler.
I don't?
No. So your kinetic AC is 14.
Alright.
In other words, a grappling check of 22.
So he can only make out a natural 20 anyways.
Well, I mean, if it's a 22 and he has a +1, then I believe that your effort might actually be fruitless. You can definitely tell that as you are trying to get a hold of this moth, he is like hitting and jumping from space to space and eluding your grasp, and I'm just turning around and mocking you in the same way that he would do to an opponent. It's just kind of one of those things where, as smart as you are and as sharp of mind as you are not as dexterous in body. You're not that strong physically, and this thing is very fast. It is
It's like-
jittery like a moth on cocaine.
I imagine it akin to trying to grab some type of very, very agile and lithe small animal, like just an incredibly worked up cat. That's
Yeah,
just
you're
not fucking
basically
with you.
fighting with this thing. So, as you continue to fuck with it, I'm gonna go ahead and say make a perception check.
All right. Oh,
Wow.
that's unfortunate.
Natural 1 for recording purposes.
Good lord. So, as you are fighting with this thing, I'm just going, come here, you fucking god damn it, and slipping through your legs and fixing these boxes and turning them back on. You feel a simple tap on your shoulder.
I'm gonna turn around and think to myself, please be 447, please be 447.
And immediately there is a fist going for your face.
Ah!
So you turn about and immediately spot this, I mean, much larger figure than the person that came before, but something's a bit strange. Though it is bedecked in armor, it appears to have its head plate retracted and disassembled, this clearly being power armor of a sort. And you see the same face that was on the person that was attending the gala.
The same person. Which one? One of the nobles?
No, this is the same 202, I believe was the name. Or
Yes.
what was it?
202.
The Snake Eyes 202.
Oh, the female.
So
former-
white hair, scion,
Yeah, no,
serpent
I got you.
eyes.
I got you. Do I get any type of reflex, or is this just an attack roll against
I believe
me?
that this would just be an attack roll.
All right. Well, I am not hard to damage, so I'm about to get decked in the face.
Let me quickly find something. Because of the very nature of the challenge rating on this foe, I am going to go ahead and assume.
This thing is gonna have to roll below a 5 to not hit me, probably.
Yeah, this is definitely something that is like beyond your current capacity.
I just want to know if I have enough time to try to make a break for it.
Right.
Because if one punch from this thing can knock me out cold, then every turn that I get to get away from it is life-saving.
Yeah, that is what I'm
I-
attempting to figure out right now.
Unless this is just a with a roll like that, this is just a you are dead scenario. I missed the cutscene. The quick time event, yeah, I failed.
I'm just attempting to look through the Alien archive to find something that represents this thing. Mainly because I didn't set it up as an actual creature. Oh, here we are. We'll use... you. Yeah, why not? Yeah, that definitely works. So as it reaches forward with its gauntlet clasped, you see energy flaring as it goes ahead and gives you a quick shove, and with a 26 it slams you backwards. You hit the wall and immediately would take... Let's see. It is not attempting to kill you.
So that roll bugged out for me. What were the modifiers on that?
That has a plus 23 modifier.
Holy fucking shit! Yeah, there's no point even trying to roll that. I have a fucking 12 AC.
I figured I would be fair regardless.
I mean, there's a chance it would have rolled a 1.
If this does not reduce you, or if it does reduce you to a critical state, I will take the HP back. So it deals 27 points of damage.
27? Okay, well that doesn't kill me, but it gets as close as it possibly can. That takes all of my stamina away, and leaves me with 1 single point of health.
Excellent. That is the intention here. So, this power-armored figure gives you a quick knuckle dust, and you are immediately sent hurtling back into the wall, and you hear a crack. And I'm going to say, go ahead and give me a fortitude save.
Alright. Yeah, this is definitely a
16. As you impact the wall, immediately you feel a sharp pain in your leg as you impact something, and at this velocity and intensity with the shock wave of what is evidently some kind of powered weapon, the legs, like the bones in your leg, immediately just snap. With the twisted, crumpled body of Ankos flying to the floor, the moth continues to fix this power box, and this thing casually strides right up to you with each thunderous stomp. You see the cyan-slitted eyes of this individual. It picks you up by your clothes and lifts you. What are you doing, Tyler?
So, is it going to me or Ankos?
It's going to Ankos and leaving you completely alone.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
So, if that is all the queries you have for this concern, it lifts you up by the cuffs of your clothes and kind of brings you up to eye level.
Oh wait, it picked me up, or
yeah,
Yes.
it basically picks you up by your clothes.
Oh crap! I
It's
thought she was
lifting you
picking
up
up
to eye
Yori.
level.
I'm fucking.
Tyler
I'm
literally
trying-
asked if it was you or him, and
Well,
Levi said
I could have.
you.
Well, he said he walks up to the small creature or some shit like that.
Comparatively small creature.
Yeah, no, comparatively. Adam, okay. At this point, I'd probably be like too in pain to even speak or do much of anything. I'm just going to stare at this thing with just trying to hold back, like, from just completely curling up into a ball.
Yeah, with this sadistic ease, it kind of just smiles a bit and says, "Let's go outside and leave the little one to his work." And there's the stomp, stomp, stomp as it leaves your reach within the depths of the plants.
If this thing
While
carries me in a position to where I'm, like, not obvious, like, if it's not watching me super closely, if I can muster up the ability to pull my gun out of my trench coat, I'm going to.
You not only have the strength to pull the gun out, you also have the strength to pull your comm unit out, which you do still hear as buzzing.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to mute my side, and I'm going to, like, hit accept, because is it still ringing from
It is definitely still ringing from Baku.
Okay, I'm going to mute him, but if it can leave it to where the audio can still come through from me, I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, Vaku, at this point, you see your comm unit flicker to life, and with the call accepted, you see in this almost shuffling image, and you're not quite certain what to make of it. It almost looks like Ankos is being carried by something, almost maybe a good half of him taller than him.
Fuck.
And once I've gotten the call on,
What's happening?
I'm
Ankos.
not going to say anything. I'm just going to pull out my gun, and I'm going to try and stick it in this thing's side and shoot.
Alrighty, go ahead and give me an attack roll. I'll even give you a circumstantial bonus.
I know this is all for flavor. I'm not gonna do anything to this fucking thing.
Hell, I mean, it's a good opportunity if it weren't a 3.
God hates me.
Yeah, with the searing pain that is going through your side, you manage the courage and the sheer willpower to bring the pistol up to this thing's armored side. There is a click, a flash, and another searing pain as you feel the gauntlet of this creature begin to squeeze. And as it almost chokes the life out of you, it simply, and with almost no difficulty, flings you across this area. Now that you're out of that building, you skid, hitting this corrugated, plated metal 1-2 times before hitting the railing on one side and almost blacking out. Now then,
When
it
she
pulls
says,
out its gun.
I'd like to say, you can't blame me for trying, can you?
No, I can't. And as it levels its rifle at you, that is when you start to hear something. It is almost like a clanking, like something is scaling this platform. And for a second, the individual holding the rifle, you can definitely tell has much more sharply tuned senses. Immediately goes from the non-threat that is you to the threat that is now evidently present. There is another, and then you start hearing a very distant roaring, like a distant rumble that begins to build in your chest. It is soft at first. It passes right behind you, and that roar kind of increases in intensity, almost feeling like your lungs would shatter.
Can
And you
I
feel a shadow pass over your frame.
Can I see what it is? A perception, or can I?
You
I
want to
can't
look
see
up at it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay. I was debating between either that or a sense motive to see if she was scared or worried about this.
You can see smoke primarily emanating from almost like a trail leading up to this thing, burning from this almost royal deep blue flame. It cuts out about at its apex of its height and immediately begins to plummet. And as you catch out the still damaged details of Indoom's tread, you see that there is a few things different about him. Most of all, the fact that he can make jumps like that now.
Huh.
With the plummet, you start hearing the snapping of rounds as this figure brings its rifle to its shoulder and begins just pumping as much of its firepower into this mech's frame. It crashes down into the deck in front of you, almost causing you to lift off of the ground a good foot, before bringing down one of its arms and shielding down onto the deck, creating this full cover for you. And as it leans down, and you can see what optical cameras it have kind of tighten in. Most of the damaged plating that was present on this creation's frame has been almost sutured, for lack of a better word. Not repaired, but changed. And the first thing that you hear is the deep rumble of, "Are you alright?"
I've been better, but you won't be if you stay here much longer.
As one of these shots comes in and impacts against the shield, it immediately begins to fracture and break into splinters. And you hear the simple response of, "Agreed." And it grabs you with one hand and immediately shoves you into the fully concealed cockpit.
Okay.
So-
My broken ribs and arms probably really appreciating that grab. I'm just gonna bite
I
the,
imagine that it is just sheer pain
Yeah,
that rockets through your entire frame as he does
at
not realize that you are, like, completely wounded in such a state.
At this point, I'm probably just gonna stuff part of my jacket into my mouth and bite hard.
I apologize, but this journey will be rough. There are the others.
447's in the facility. Yarichu's back at the control panel, and I have no idea where Vaku is.
It seems to run this information into account and immediately start running. As it begins to just stomp forward across this platform, You hear the being off in the background start to scream something in response. Probably something to the means of, it's not fair.
Not fair.
Undignified
So,
silence.
as
fair.
I'm
It's
in
not
the
fair.
control room, may I make one last will save?
I will say that at this point, as you are fixing everything and you've come to a finished job and satisfied with your work, you start to feel a coiling sickness in your stomach, and spending a point of resolve, I will allow you to make another will save.
Alright,
Remembering that last time you did this, you rolled a 19 and still weren't able to break out.
I'm aware.
A 15. So, standing and kind of putting your arms to your sides and admiring your work, you immediately just start seeing small flickers, almost as if the pain of reality was beginning to, I don't know, flake and dematerialize, but quickly the mask pulls back over, and you are shunted back into this ethereal dream. The first one, who should we go after?
I know where Yarich is,
going
but I don't know where
stride out the
447 is.
room proud of himself.
If Yarich is making himself
It's
an
literally
easy
that
grab,
dog meme where he's like drinking coffee inside of a burning house. This is fine.
Yeah, as another rumble comes through the platform, it is very apparent that you need to make your quick departure.
Yeah.
So, it is kind of a hilariously comedic moment, because as soon as you say, I know where Yarich is, he strides out of an open archway and just kind of like, still arms on his hips, looks out to the sky.
I'm gonna say Yarich is under the effects of some kind of mind control. He will try to fight back. Don't let him.
Understood. He immediately just starts stomping forward. So, Yarich, as you are admiring your work and hearing the successful coming down of these machines, you feel a giant armored hand clasp around you and whip you away into the distance.
I'm going to struggle against it. I'm going to roll strength just because. Nope, nothing.
And as it continues forward on its warpath, now the soldier. As it reaches a bordering wall, you hear some kind of almost murmur, or rather a beeping of caution, before the jump jets flicker into life and this rocketing frame begins to fly. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet, as it rockets over this wall's edge and then comes down and makes contact with the other platform. It is a rough landing, and you can feel the broken bones shifting and the meat beginning to just overwhelm you with internal bleeding. It is very painful, for lack of a better description. And
Yeah.
as you are in mid-motion, you start hearing a strange series of noises behind you. You look back, you tilt your head back, and it's almost like something out of a horror story, because hanging almost suspended behind you is this almost doll-like visage of the same engine seer, this Lex mechanic. The body of Phoebe begins to crack and come to life.
Inside of the cockpit or behind Doomstread?
Now that you are inside of it, you've been inside of it once before, I believe, haven't
Yeah.
you?
I have.
You do notice that along with some of the minor repairs, it looks like this has gone or undergone some sort of chassis upgrade, and there is a second space behind you for a co-pilot.
Huh. As this thing materializes, I'm gonna say, Aspect, is that you?
As this thing starts cracking and coming to life, one of the hands sets down on your shoulder, hand sets down on your shoulder, and he goes, "Yes, Ankos, it's me."
Oh, thank God. I see you've been keeping yourself very busy.
Unfortunately, I have not had access to this platform, but that has changed.
I thought you were responsible for the repair jobs.
Yes, but with the distance, I was not able to assume this. Not able to assume this form. Clearly, Volknir has gone to somebody else for work. In the meantime, let's focus on what we can do. And
Right.
immediately starts putting down electronics all over you.
Electronics, like
Setting down a headset on you, putting down what appears to be some kind of haptic gauntlet encasing your arms. You are currently in pain, but that much is not really stopping you from getting dressed in this ensemble.
I suppose it'd be an extremely long stretch to see if there's a first aid kit in here with a shot of morphine in it, would there be?
We'll tend to your wounds later. Just focus for now.
I will do as much as I can.
You may not be trained in this, but there is one particular component you can operate for the time being. And as this thing continues to stomp forward, 447,
Yeah.
you are lying curled on the ground, completely subsumed by this chaotic nightmare that had just drowned you in a torrent of snakes. You vaguely make out the image. Not you, 447, but Ankos on the other side of the platform, through these camera feeds, start to make out a crumpled soldier figure. To his north, sitting still on the platform, currently looks to be another crumpled figure, this one in a familiar suit.
Stursk?
You try to identify him, and in your pain state being dressed in this equipment, give me a perception check.
Okay. I don't know why I don't just keep my goddamn character sheet up, honestly.
What I do is I grab the little corner arrow in the bottom right corner and just pull it up when I'm not using it.
A 21. You immediately identify the individual based on his attire, that this is Ismail Vukovic, which is the acting king of House Baldur, lying on the ground, seemingly deceased. There are pools of blood forming underneath him.
Oh shit. That's very bad. Well, so this place is currently in a meltdown right now. We need to get out of here quickly. Right?
As you say that, the footsteps redouble in their tread, and soon the mech is basically shouldering over and kind of putting an arm around 447 and trying to
Yeah,
address his state of mind.
What do I see from my perspective? Is this...
I would almost say that this tangled mess and almost knotted web of snakes, it's almost like a concealing veil, and you vaguely make out the sound of something in the background, something familiar with that stride, although a bit more confident and sure of itself. There are lights that you begin to see as familiar, and you get a sense that if you maybe tried your hardest, you may be able to break out of this weave.
What kind of check would that be?
I would say that because of the very nature and how strong this effect is, it would be a dark resolve.
Okay. Okay, I'm echoing through someone's mic, and it's kind of distracting.
Is it? Am I echoing through your mic?
Yeah, I hear my voice echoing through your mic. I'm pretty
not
sure.
certain how to fix that.
Okay.
Pretty light. I didn't even notice it until just now.
Let me tell you, for me, it's extremely
How-
noticeable. But
Let's pause the recording.
okay.
So, as this arm slams down around you, and you start making out the fact that there's some kind of friend above you, I will let you spend the use of Dark Resolve to kind of reflect on your history and attempt to make sense of this situation.
I guess, okay, before I do that, let me ask you, have I taken any stamina or hit point damage from this encounter?
You were not wounded.
Okay, I will go ahead and spend some Dark Resolve then. Which I guess means converting Resolve into Dark Resolve, then spending that point.
Yeah, so you will go down to 1.
Yes.
That being said, as you are surrounded by these writhing tendrils, you latch out deep within your past and attempt to get hold of something that is like a beacon of stability. And as you are reaching through memories and feeling that the presence of more companions is starting to compound aspect within your own form, you do eventually find one that takes hold. It was a deeply recessed memory, way back when, whenever you were still conducting operations with 202 in the squad. But you do recall a moment of silence between the two of you, leaning on a broken archway of ruins supported on a outbound colony defending against the hollowed core. She expressed that, though she always conducted her affairs with deception in mind, that she would never lie to you. And for some reason that was comforting at the time. And you start seeing these vines recede and fade away, just enough to get the feeling that you are being picked up by something colossal.
And I do get the sense that this colossal thing that is handling me isn't doing it with hostile intent.
Probably not.
Okay. In that case, I'm not going to do anything rash, and I'm going to allow it to happen.
Alrighty. As you are being picked up, in one hand you have a soldier, and in the other you have a moth.
Who's frankly trying to flail out, screaming by unintelligible profanities.
Yeah, as this is going on, Ankos, within the canopy, as the only one still sane of mind, we have a problem.
Shoot.
The way that I navigated across this lake, I moved across the bed of this body of water. These two, being outside of the canopy, will not survive such a journey.
Alright. You put Yarich in here, he's gonna break something right now. If the Spartan's not gonna fight back down
The
here.
Spartan.
Centurion! Freudian slip.
So
Then I will offer, or I will say that we should probably put 447 in here.
yeah, you hear the canopy split open, and immediately you see the, 6'11" you said your character was, or was he 6'7"?
I think he's 6'7" out of his
6'5",
armor.
it says out of his armor.
Okay.
So, donned in armor, this hulk of meat and metal is pressed into this canopy like a clown car.
Am I conscious at this point? Am I in control of my faculties again after spending that Dark Resolve, or no?
I imagine that you are coming to some semblance of reality.
Okay.
And you look just down because you have been basically smushed into this and then had the cockpit closed over you. Still holding the moth in one hand, you are now basically pressed together with Ankos and Aspect lying on top of the cockpit.
I was gonna offer to get out. If I have to limp my way out of here, then I'll do that.
Would you rather clown car or limp your way out?
Ground car may be the safest.
Yeah, fuck it, I guess if that's an option. If I don't feel
Yeah.
like it's gonna compromise our safety, then I'll just do that.
With this uncomfortable situation somewhat resolved, there is still the problem of the moth. He is still holding it in one hand, and it is fighting and trying to get away.
You guys are lucky I don't think the tree monster is eating me.
Yeah, no kidding. Quite frankly, I don't know
I had a
what to do
plan
about
for
him.
that. I actually had a plan for if I thought the tree monster was going to eat me. So, you're lucky that I don't think that's what's going on.
Yeah. For the moth, I mean, the only person here that could restrain him, at all, would be 447. And if he's not in his right senses, then there's not a lot we can do about that.
So, I would also mention that after being clown card into this, Aspect, who was previously trying to put gear on you, is now very upset at the circumstance, because with Centurion in the cockpit, there is no space for anybody to move.
Oh god. At this point, does it look like he's coming to his senses? Can I tell that he's finally getting in his right
He
state of
looks
mind?
like he is beginning to clear up, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, I'm just gonna look to Aspect and tell her, just put the gear on him whenever he comes to, and I'm going to get out of the cockpit.
So you guys have to forcefully fight around in this. The canopy opens once again, and as you are leaving, you start hearing some almost beeps of hostile recognition, and Doomtread seems to be acknowledging the presence of other things drawing into your location.
Well, if that's the case, I don't have any means of restraining Yarich, do I? No ropes, no handcuffs, no nothing.
Do you have anything in your inventory?
I
imagine
really
not.
hold on. Let me see if I have like a text
It
inventory.
was Durian who had all the handcuffs in.
This is true.
Fucking phenomenal.
It is
Yeah.
at this moment that you are currently lying on the ground with a broken leg and ribs.
Oh, yeah, I can't walk. Never mind. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you do hear something. This is stupid.
Yeah, fine, clown car, fuck it. And as far as your agent's gonna say, there's not a lot we can do about him. He will
just
try
kind of
to, he's
looks
unless
over
you
to-
unless you can knock him out. Wait, hint, hint. There's not a lot we can do.
He holds him in his hand up to the optical sensor, and Tyler, from your point of view, you are being seized by a dragon. That being said,
I'm gonna make a will
have
save
an
not to just pass out from fear.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to make this easy.
An 11. I imagine that you seeing this terrifying nightmare do see this and just immediately begin to fade. Well, that was easier than I expected.
Well, thank God. Well, I guess let's make this problem even worse. Hand him to me, and I'll hold on to him.
He looks down to you, and then looks off into the distance. I apologize. I hope you wake up whilst you're in flight. And then turns over, and with all of his current might,
no.
throws the moth as hard as he can. And you see Yari spiraling off into the distance.
Okay then. Well, whatever. If he dies, that doesn't seem to be more than an inconvenience for us, so I'm just going to accept his judgment and
It's at
carry
this
on.
point that Doomtread looks down to you.
Quite frankly, that's kind of the best answer.
So, as you guys are basically conducting your affairs of getting away from this place, Vaku, how far away from the lake are you? Have you taken the car anywhere? Are you getting ready to help out your fellow peers?
I have no idea.
Oh, I never hung that call up. I'm gonna realize
You
that
have not.
Vaku should be on the other end of this unless he has hung up.
No,
And be like,
just
yeah, just stay by the buggies, we're moving.
okay.
So, as you were staying by the buggies, in the far off distance, if you are paying close enough attention, you do see a tiny speck flying far away from the platform.
Do I make another save or something to wake up?
I will say that because of the stress of the situation, you probably do realize that you are being thrown at amazing velocities.
I'm going to spread out my wings and begin trying to take control of my glide, or rather glide at this point.
Go ahead and give me a flight check, or no, rather it was a reflex save.
Reflex. Yes.
An 18. As you awaken to feel the wind hurtling around your form, you spread out all of your limbs in order to catch as much drag as you can and balance your tumbling body out. At which point, you bring out your wings and do your best to create a guided ascent. Because of the sheer velocity of which you've been thrown and how much time you were allowed to travel as essentially a living football, you've trekked almost halfway to the distance above the lake. You see below you that there is tumultuous water that appears to be roiling with some unknown potential.
What's going on? I thought I shut the thing down.
As you continue to basically glide your way to the other side, that leaves the problem of us. You have an option, Ankos.
Alright.
Clown car.
Fucking... I'm sorry, read that back to me one more time. I was changing something.
I said you have an option.
An option of what again?
You can be thrown, or you can come with me.
I stand absolutely no chance of surviving a throw in my current state. So, Do what you think is the best tactical decision. What happens to me happens.
So, at this point,
Unless you
he
have to
goes
wait it
ahead,
out.
grabs you, and almost whenever you think that you're about to be thrown to presumably your death, you hear the canopy split open and you are shoved into this space meant for two people. At that point, you start hearing pinging and rattles of shearing metal and disintegrating plate as it seems that Doomtrade has come under fire again. At which point, he walks up to the side of this this terraforming platform, and simply just leaps off.
Oh god.
There is a lurch as you feel the contents of your stomach attempt to come up. You have to hold it down before the jets fire for a split moment to cancel the momentum. It is like being suddenly hitting the lobby floor in an elevator, coming to a crashing descent. Split the water and begin rocking downward. As opposed to when there is air outside of the canopy, with water it is very much a claustrophobic affair, because you know if this place is breached, it will begin to fill. That being said though, with the state of the both of you, Centurion,
Yes.
the way that this essentially is working, you have Ankos's lower half, his legs, currently basically just lying flat on top of you, whereas you were
see.
basically pressing up against the aspect construct, the upper half. You can just barely make out the exterior feeds of what appears to be the bottom of this lake floor. If you want to pay attention, or rather if you want to focus on something else, I would make that apparent now.
There's not much else I can focus on. I'm shoved in this clown car with nothing else to do, I don't think.
Amazing clown car. So, as you start paying attention to this feed, you notice some strange things about this lake in general. The bottom here, although it seems to be layered with sediment, you see artificial cracks beginning to form and open, almost as if the lake bed itself were an artificial creation. At this moment, with the way that bubbles are beginning to hiss up and the way that water is beginning to flow down deeper into this machine, something is kind of giving you that deeper instinct that there was a larger facility hidden below this lake that is beginning to open up and water is beginning to pour in.
So, I'm fully conscious now and aware and capable, is that?
Yeah, you're still having to shake off the shadows and hallucinations, but you are at this point capable of conversing.
Okay. So, I'm just going to I'm not gonna have much room to move at all, but I'm gonna kind of lift my head up from the slump it was in and look up. Would someone like to explain to me why we're underwater now?
Making a daring escape, why else?
Fucking Ankos says as his face is pressed up against metal.
Okay, let me correct that. Making a daring escape, why else?
Amazing. As you continue
Beautiful.
to make your journey, step by step, avoiding these crevices and avoiding falling in, eventually, over the course of maybe 5, 7, maybe 10 minutes, considering that this is a lake, eventually it navigates to the other edge and begins to rise. The feed starts showing more and more light breaching the surface, and eventually Doomtread himself surfaces. And on the other side of this lake bed, he opens up the canopy and lets those who want to be, those who want to exit.
So I take it I'm still trying to slow down my glide and to a reasonable amount.
I imagine in the time that it takes for them to cross this lake, you have managed to come to a skidding stop in the middle of a clod of dirt. Probably coming to a rolling stop, but being thankful that you're alive.
So,
What in the world's happening? I shut this thing down. I entered.
do
Can I make an intelligence check to see if I can deduce that I've been tricked somehow?
I would say that seeing the opposite of what you have basically tried to do, come to fruition. At this moment, without an intelligence check, I'll allow you to decipher that something has gone wrong, and clearly something has, like, not quite gone as according to plan as you thought it did. So clearly you have been tricked to some extent.
Heckin' bamboozled.
Okay, so do I have
I'm going
enough?
to get on the comms and ask, what's going on? Who tricked me? And
Before we start having conversations, does the group want to try and get together?
I was just about to
Yeah.
start trying to
Yeah.
coordinate that. So I'm gonna look around if I can. Do I have enough neck room to even assess the fucking state of my fellow occupants?
If you are allowed to get outside and kind of get a sense of your affairs, you would have a beat on the situation.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, can I tell that Enkos is basically on the verge of death?
Like I said, if you have a moment to assess the situation, you would know as much as everybody else. So Ankos is wounded, the moth has been tossed like a fucking foosball.
So I'm just going to say, Enkos, stay in here. It's the safest place for you. I'm getting out. We're going to have a conversation, but it's going to have to be later.
I told Vaku to. I'm sorry. Let me correct this. I told Vaku to wait by the car so he can go there.
I'm getting out right now.
At this point, you hear, "Oh, excuse me," and the canopy opens.
So
447 is allowed to get out, and you are allowed to get into some good position.
I'm gonna climb out and climb down from Doomtread. You have my thanks, warrior. I'm not sure we would have made it out without your intervention.
You were lucky that our times aligned the way they did.
No kidding.
I'll explain
You
later,
guys
but for
get-
now we should focus on making a quick escape.
At this point,
Agreed.
you guys begin getting a beep on comms from Yarich.
Yarich, who is now in a tree somewhere.
So I'm going to activate my comm engineer.
Ooh. Or how was I tricked to get that thing running?
We can talk about this later. We need to get out of here and regroup.
Where shall we regroup? I'm somewhere across the lake. I don't know where. I'm
Let's
going to try to make a
Get
position.
back to our
based-
vehicles at the gala.
Alright. Alright, I'll be there.
Don't think you want to go to the gala anymore. Something went down.
We have 2 vehicles there that we're not leaving behind. Unless you can drive 2 things at once, we're going back.
Just be careful.
Speaking of, the party goes ahead and they're going to regroup at these buggies. You quickly determine there are several individuals absent. The Drow, of course, Darian still, and Timothy. They are all gone.
Right.
That being said, though, you are now together as a group, with Doomtread at the fore. At this point, it seems that whatever the hell Aspect has been doing has successfully completed.
So
You are now dressed in what appears to be a selection of gear. You're not quite sure as to the purpose of it.
we're at our vehicles, though, is the point.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm basically going to look up towards In Doom's Tread. I'm going to say, follow us, we're going to form a convoy and find somewhere safe to regroup. I'm going to look towards Vaku. Take the buggy, I'll take the car.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Alright.
knock on the side of Doomtread in Doomtread to let me out, and I'll ride in one of the cars, so that he's not weighed down with anything.
If
probably
you were attempting to exit, Aspect kind of puts a hand on your shoulder and just goes, "Well, I've been running through a majority of his armaments, and I did find one thing of interest. The reason that I have put this gear on you is because I have noticed that the ammunition for his autocannon has been replenished."
Alright, well, if staying here is gonna help him be more lethal, then I guess that'd be a fair trade. So I'm gonna stay inside of the car then, or stay inside of Doomtread.
So, where are we going as a convoy?
We are getting the fuck away from this gala, and since we cannot take Doomtread into the city, we are just going to try to regroup at that hangar or garage or wherever it was that Doomtread initially was taking shelter in when we first went into the city.
That's gonna require us to leave past the security checkpoints on the outside of the city. You sure that's a good idea?
We've
you guys
left
have
the
already
city.
left the city.
This isn't in the city.
Oh, you're right. Actually, as we're deliberating on this, I want to try to call Uvan.
You go ahead and quickly get a response and immediately just go, Ankos, what the hell? And immediately you hear gunshots going off, and he takes cover behind some heavy piece of stonework. What happened?
All right. You know how I had that crazy conspiracy theory about the terraformers?
Yeah?
It wasn't crazy. Somebody sabotaged them.
God damn it. And immediately you hear a couple of other gunshots go off.
Who the hell are you fighting?
So, as he leans over, and you see him put a gun bracing up against the cover, and this immediate blast that almost rings the ears of yourself, even though you're on the side of the comm unit, on the other side of the comm unit. And after his twin series of shots goes off, and he pulls the twin-barreled shotgun close to his chest and dives back under the cover. Oh, these House Baldur fucks are going crazy. Again, you said that terraformer's going and acting up. What happened?
I went with Stars to investigate it. We were just looking around, we got ambushed. Somebody set it off, and we found someone else in there too. The king of Baldur, he's dead.
Well, shit. Sorry I was caught up in the moment. It's not just Baldur. All of these noble houses are going fucking nutters. If their king's dead, I guess that would explain it. And in the distance, you do hear something to the equivalent of For Castellum! And then there is a deep explosion, and Uvan's comm just immediately goes dark.
Fuck. I want to go find him, but I don't think we stand a chance in a fight right now. I'll trust that he can pull himself out of a hairy situation, and we need to get out of here.
So, you all are going to leave this area?
Yeah, like I said, we're driving towards
Yeah.
the hideout that Doomtread initially took shelter in.
As you exit, you do start to notice something. Leaving via the carts and via in Doom's Tread, off in the distance where the lake bed would have been, you start to notice the water begin to drop, as if it were pouring into some new vast empty space. The platform that was wrapping around that, built by the Syndicate to attempt to decipher its operations, crumbles and falls apart, falling into the monsoon of water that is now immediately just drawing into this vast creation. From those deep pits, central arms begin to wrap out of the ground and begin to connect to the central spire. As you all leave, that is all you make of it. Getting far off into the distance, you don't see much what happens to this terraformer.
Why do I feel like we just witnessed the last death throes of a planet already in its last legs?
Not to mention,
Because you just did.
presumably the death of Stursk, because, he was on that platform too.
Unfortunate. Not a lot we can do about that.
So, you all go ahead and make your way out to the outskirts, these slums of the city. And eventually you set down in this large area. Not the roofed one, but rather a bunch of ruins stacked up around themselves, high enough to where Doomtread could essentially stay here and make some kind of camp. The cars come to a stop. You all settle down and begin getting out.
Okay.
What is the next step?
Yarich is just kind of befuddled that in the trickery of everything, he managed to activate this machine. He's not gonna say anything. He's just kind of lost in thought as he follows his team.
Yeah, I'm just kind of staring at a blinking monitor inside of the cockpit, tapping my finger, just trying to run through this massive amount of information.
So let me ask, do I remember 202 being capable of advanced hallucination abilities when we were operating together as a squad?
You barely recall that, in terms of Centurions, some were born with specific genetic quirks, like they were specifically manufactured for that. 202 was capable of minor psychic manipulation, but nothing to this scale.
Okay.
Not to mention, 202 definitely did not have snake eyes the last time you saw her.
That's fair enough, but that basically confirms all of my suspicions. So I'm going to throw open the door of the car, sling myself out of it, and slam it shut. And I'm going to look up towards the Doomstride and around towards the group. What just happened back there confirmed every suspicion I had. I'm not going crazy. I'm not schizophrenic. There's nothing wrong with me in the head that wasn't already apparent. That was 202. I have no doubt in my mind. She was always capable of low-level psychic manipulation, but nothing like the scale of what she made me experience.
It's at this point, I guess I'm gonna like click the intercom for Doomstride so I can actually talk. Well,
Yeah,
she's
you
had
hear the
about 15
speakers crack.
Well, she's had about 1,500 years to practice her craft, so I can imagine she's a bit better now.
If I may make a suggestion, I was thinking about this earlier. What if Voyager actually opened 202's cockpit before they got to you and was able to retrieve her, and along with some of your others?
What use is speculating that right now?
I think a better question would be, why is any of this happening?
Well,
Why are the noble houses picking now for rebellion, and why the hell was the terraformer being sent
I want
off?
to know how she's still alive and what stake she has in any of this.
Well, I think we should probably lay low for a couple days, keep our heads down, wait for some of this fire to die down.
Not to mention, see a doctor.
Yeah, I'm
It looks
Yeah,
like we're
yeah.
not going to have much of a choice other than to go back into the city then.
No, we're not.
If you want, you can attempt to make a knowledge culture check.
All right, I will do so if it's open to me as well.
Anybody that wishes to do so.
I'm not trained in that.
I'm not training in culture either, so
Alright, so,
Nice.
you get a sense that in these slums, there are going to be, basically illicit dealers and medical care. Definitely not as trustworthy as, like, a professional hospital, but you could eke out something to, stave off your current injuries, even staying outside of the setting.
I have been doing some training with the Tim Tom so that we might be able to have some help.
Whenever
It's-
I, quite frankly, would rather take my chances. No offense, you're a great mechanic, but I'm not letting you work on my insides.
Okay. But seriously, I did put a point into medicine so that I would have a +8.
Oh yeah, you do have a +8?
Yes.
Well,
That-
I'm not gonna change my name just because I know a number now, because that'd be metagaming. But I'm gonna still insist that we probably should seek out somebody with a bit more professional insight.
Yeah.
Right. So you guys are going to spend the rest of this day looking around these slums and basically the outskirts, the free side of New Vegas. That's the idea
God.
here. Until you eke out some help from roaming doctors or illicit dealers in the medical trade.
Diplomacy?
If one of you wants to approach this individual with the opportunity of getting a good deal, certainly. If not, then I would just say that they would charge you a flat rate.
I guess being that I'm the one getting the treatment, I'll try to make a diplomacy roll. Because that's an okay skill of mine. Time for me to get a +1. Okay, alright.
So, seeing the sheer broken state that you are in, this individual who is wearing a sleeveless shirt and is kind of covered in a bit of blood, racks of sterilized tools sitting next to him as he's basically just tending to a bunch of wounded and sick here in his mass tent. Look, I'll cut you a deal. If you can manage... God, you look bad. You can manage 75 a day. I'll tend to you for that long.
looks at my measly 25 credit balance on my PDA. Just can I just buy some morphine off you and call it good?
I guess you could. I don't know how much will that do you whenever the infection sets in, but
Fuck, God, if only Tim Tom was here. So, is there any way I could mooch another 50 credits off of any of you?
That's about half of what I've got, but given the circumstances,
I'll give 25.
Yeah,
I will transfer 50 credits to Ankos.
This
I'll give
Actually-
you another 25.
Yeah, I will use all 25 of my credits for my end of the treatment if, I don't know, just whatever else can be fucking thrown in after the fact.
he kind of looks around for a bit, and seeing that you all are kind of doing really bad on cash. Look, I'm not a bad guy here. Tell you what, I know some pawnbrokers. If you've got something of equivalent value, I'd be willing to take that instead.
Well, all I've got's my comm unit, my scanner. You know what? I'm gonna pull all of the data off my video camera and give him the camera.
He just kind of looks at this thing, looks up at you. Almost seems sad as he's taking it and putting it down.
So how much is that gonna get me?
He looks it over. How much did you buy it for?
God, how much was that actually? Hold on.
$275.
Fuck. Well, I tell him. $275.
Alright. I'll take care of you for a good 3.5 days. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's gonna have to work. That should be enough time to at least get everything
So
sutured,
do we
stitched,
still
and set.
do we still deduct credits or no?
No, don't
Alright.
worry about it. I
Leave
hate
my
taking
pocket
shit from
change
you, but I
back.
kind of, can't work on nothing. Alright, we'll sit down, we'll tend to you. Do you guys need to lie low, or what's going on?
Quite frankly, I'm not entirely sure, but just act like we do.
Sure. Well, we've got a space here for you to recuperate. Any of the rest of you wounded?
My pride?
Well,
I got a little
mean,
scratched up earlier, but
I've
it's
got
nothing
some
major.
I've got some happy pills, but I don't think that's what you're looking for.
No. I don't even know if they would work with my species.
They might not. I haven't seen a kind like you before. But that's aside from the point. You need immediate medical attention. He pulls Ankos aside. So, over the course of these 3 days, what do all of you plan on doing?
I'm just going to go back to the apartment and begin just kind of pouring over all the data I was able to recreate and try to figure out what the machine is now doing.
So, you enter in through the security checkpoint, and as you are waiting through lines...
If I have to go to the scary checkpoint, I'm just going to stay near the group. Actually,
Alright.
I'm going to go back to Doomtread.
Fair enough. You go ahead and sit down next to the mech and begin setting out for what you're going to do for these 3 days.
I'm going to try to figure out what the terraformer is going to do now that I am fully conscious of what...
You can give me a speculative engineering check.
Okay.
A 30.
Oh!
You run it through your brain and come to a bunch of different solutions, and with your current level of investigation being that you are currently coming up with a bunch of theories, you have some ideas. So on the first option, which is the better of everything, this is basically the best of all worlds, it could technically be working. It could make the planet better. It could technically have been a situation where this was being forcefully held back, and some terrorist organization basically activated this terraformer out of the generousness of their own heart. The middle of the road option, if what Stursk said was true, and this terraformer was missing parts that were basically they were incapable of manufacturing themselves, then activating this thing would obviously cause some sort of negative effect. Depending on the part that it was missing, it could do anything from potentially damaging the atmosphere of the world to maybe even poisoning its water supply. Now, the worst of all worlds is that this thing might have been intentionally sabotaged, as Ankos had suggested, over the course of 60 years. And if that's the case, then it might as well be a super weapon.
So, if it was just being pulled back? Yeah. Yari just gonna curl up into a small mothball and just gonna
Mothball.
A mothball, oh my god.
have his wings surround him as he just kind of. Why couldn't I just see through that? Why? It's a bit too old to. What does she even have to gain? After game. This might be something. Yari's just gonna go slowly get up. Look around. And begin trying to find 447.
I'm not far off. I'm probably outside, just hanging around with Doomtread for the time being.
I was next to Doomtread.
Then I would say that you're both
Yeah,
in
you're
the same area.
Okay.
So you get up and basically walk over to 447.
You knew 202 the best.
I'm the only one who knew her.
Fair enough, but
Yurich, what's wrong? Can you speak straight? I'm not in the mood for this.
what does she have to gain?
Why are you asking me? Do you think I know anything about what her goals here might be?
Be right back. I use the bathroom.
I know her. I don't know what she got wrapped into.
You're right.
I don't know enough about this sector or the way things have changed over the past millennia and a half to tell you what she could possibly want. You have to understand, Yurich. I keep saying this. We were built for one purpose. To kill Hallowed. That's what she was made to do too. We took the same oath. We killed the same things. She told me she would never lie. She told me she would never use her abilities against Concordia, but now that there's no Concordia, now that there's no Hallowed, and apparently she's had far more time than I've had to adjust and get a handle on the situation, there's no telling what she's gotten into.
Yari's just going to lean back against the grass and ask, do you think she might think the Syndicate is the new form of the Hollow?
If she... Yurich, that doesn't make any sense. If she's had time to do her research... Look, I've been awake and active for maybe a few weeks at this point. And even with my minimal research and having blundered into information, even I know that the Syndicate was comprised of a variety of different former galactic powers, including the remnants of Concordia. Surely she would know that too. She wouldn't think the Syndicate is the new Hallowed Court. In fact, the Hallowed Court is still active. So it makes me wonder why she's not going after them.
Is there anything she said to you on top of the tower that might help?
Nothing in particular. Nothing that revealed her motives.
Okay. I just can't stop thinking that. Our best scenario is that the thing was just being pulled back and nothing's actually wrong with that tower. And they'll actually help. But that's a pipe dream. No pun intended.
Why would she have bothered if nothing's going to happen?
Well, maybe she's trying to help the Syndicate grow, maybe?
How
It
would
has
s-
just occurred to me that I also need to get my laundry, so I'll be back again.
Understandable.
how would sabotaging the terraformers help the syndicate in any way? Isn't this a syndicate
No,
world?
no, 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 no. Let me put it this way. What if the House Balor was holding it back, and she knew that there was nothing actually wrong with the terraformer?
Well, of course she knew there was nothing wrong with it. That's why she tricked you into sabotaging it. I'm not sure what you're getting at here.
Maybe she didn't trick me into sabotaging it, but just reactivating is what I'm trying to get at with that.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. I'm just lost. I don't know what to do.
I knew the 202 that was active 1,500 years ago, your reach. At this point, you know all I do.
Fair enough.
As you all are having this conversation, what is Vaku doing?
I guess just be like poking around the slums, just exploring.
Fair enough. As you're walking around, you do find through all of the various tents and shit, food dealers, although most of their stuff is essentially vermin-related products and very bad shit. Survivable and cheap, but probably not good for you. However, as you are walking, you do pass by a couple of remnants, some ruins of buildings, and within the alleyway you see a group of about 3 individuals, one of which goes, "Hey,
Hey,
come
you
over
alright,
here."
man? What you got?
I'm just wanting to get a look at you.
I mean, you're looking
Sus.
at me right now.
I guess that's true. What's going on? You're not like people around here. What's up?
Just passing through.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah,
You looking for work?
maybe.
Well,
You
ain't
got
that,
anything?
ain't that nice? Yeah, why don't you come over here and we can talk about it?
You just talk about it right here.
I guess, but I don't like to raise my voice.
I mean, you could always come over here to me.
I guess that's true. You know what, you have a good day. I don't think you're worth our
Yeah,
time
you should have thought
anyway.
about it more then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true.
So yeah.
Okay.
Obvious grift. Like you're just gonna mug me or something. I was like, fuck that. I'm not a dumbass.
As you continue to wander through, most of your time's a bit wasted, considering that this is just a slum. You do find
Yeah.
individuals who are begging for money. You do find more and more grifters. They just seem to be everywhere out here. That being said, though, with your street smarts, you kind of go around most of these things. That being
Yeah.
said, the first day passes without event. Inko slow to regain 4 hit points and jump up to 5. Vaku, if you are sleeping, you would get 2 back. Or rather, no, you have your stamina, so spending a resolve, you would get your stamina back if you wished.
Sure.
So spend 1, go back up to 12 stamina. On day 2, does anybody seem interested in anything?
So, I guess
Yari just going to spend the day trying to write a code that would diagnose what is happening with the tower.
So you start manipulating your comm unit and start programming something. What do you intend to do with this? Is this something
If
that
I
you have
ever
to
get
plug
the
in?
chance to, this would be, if I ever get a chance to get close to the tower again, I want to figure out. This might not actually work.
I mean,
gonna
I'll
scrap.
let you see if you can start trying to build something like that as a speculation for the beginning of the day.
I'm going to start that and see if I could make anything that would even be able to identify the inner workings of the tower if I was able to hook up some.
Yeah, the Moth is going to spend the beginnings of the day basically making chalk scrawlings around the ground and the ruins and the rubble and shit. Basically, lots of different symbols and code lines, trying to see if he can't build something that would be able to interact with this thing. That would give me a computer's check. A 31, you begin the process of assembling this program. It is very hectic, but you have one of those red tape boards with all of the conspiracy theories essentially strung out with different code lines, trying to see what you could use to provoke this ancient device into telling you what's going on. Anybody else want to do anything on day 2, or are you all just chilling?
I'm going to, I suppose, reiterate the party's goals. That being, we're still not in a good position here. We need transport, we need better gear. I know there are bigger things happening, but the fact of the matter is we need work, we need resources, we need to be able to handle what's coming, and right now, I hold up my hunting rifle. I don't think this is gonna do shit against 202.
I'm back.
So to reiterate, basically, Yarich is designing a computer program to investigate, potentially in the future, what is wrong with this tower. Vaku avoided getting griffed in the midst of this hobo city, and all of you basically banded up for day 2, and 447 is giving this speech that is essentially saying, we're in the dirt right now, we need work.
I understand that there are bigger things to worry about than money and resources and finance or some grand conspiracy to sink this planet into the inky black abyss never to be seen again, or something. But we're not going to be able to stop it if we aren't better positioned.
Yeah, it's just we're in the fucking shithole right now, so not much we can do about that.
So,
Making an effort
the
is
moment,
the first.
kind of giving you a thumbs up as if to support your leadership skills. Doomtread just kind of perks up from his little spot and gives you that thumbs up and just goes, I may have a solution.
let's hear it.
Off in the westward periphery surrounding Hollins, there was another vault, one that you intended to investigate later on.
Correct.
I took the liberty of investigating this myself. It is the home of an ancient artificer. Potentially they could have work.
I like that lead better than any other I've heard so far. Thank you.
You
Fuck
are
it.
welcome.
Might as well.
The only other, I'm going to take a deep breath and kind of recompose myself. The only other issue we have at the moment is Ankos is laid up. I suppose we're going to have to wait for him to recover before we go braving any vaults and finding dangerous work.
What was the
Well-
name of Enko's friend?
Uvon. I was actually gonna get to that. Have I got any correspondence while I've been laid up?
There was a day where essentially they had to put you under anesthetic, which would have been day 1 whenever they took you away. You wake up around day 2, and it seems that they have been spending this guy and his cheap assistant have been essentially putting as much as they can together to form a cast around your broken leg, and are trying to support their broken ribs as much as they can. Some of them are talking about pins, and you don't like the way that they're saying it. That being said, though, you pull out your comm unit in a bit of a haze of pain. The adrenaline having worn off, it is now very much hurting. You are at 5 HP as opposed to 1. You pull out your comm and you do see that you have 10 missed messages.
Alright, I'm gonna start reading all those.
So the first 3 are automated, basically messages from the Institute of Investigation. The first of which tells you that you have received the payments for your hazard pay. The second is a query for your location, and the third one is informing you that you've been terminated.
Ah!
Oh,
Well, any of them from Move On?
Now, whereas the first 3 were from the Institute, The next 7 are from Uvon, and it's basically every hour or two he keeps messaging you saying, like, where are you? What's going on? Are you okay?
I guess at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and message him back. I'm fine. I just broke every single bone in my body, and I'm laid up in a doctor's right now.
You get a call.
I answer the call.
So the immediate video feed that comes through is way too close, almost like a grandparent that doesn't know how to use a phone. It's just the wide reptilian eye of Uvon just going, where are you right now?
I'm going to just say, I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm just going to send him a pin.
I'm coming over. And he hangs up.
So, were you in the room for that conversation, or was I giving my, like, pep talk outside, or what?
Your choice. The doctor lets you out for a bit, or you're still sitting in the tent.
I'm gonna say, because I don't want to spill the beans about the terraformer shit, I was giving the motivational speech and a query for what we should consider focusing on next outside, so the doctor doesn't hear shit about, like, the planet being in danger.
Yeah, then it's up to Ankos to inform everybody what's his choice.
Wait, so how much of this did you're talking about
You're in a doctor's office, the rest of your companions have left. What do you intend to do with your information? Do you want to let the party know, that way you can all gather, or just...
I mean, I'll tell them that Uvon's gonna come by, and if you want to stick around for it, by all means, but I should probably...
So at that point...
Explain myself.
I'm going to look down at Enkos as he's laying in bed. Would you rather that be a private conversation, or do you want us here?
Quite frankly, there's not a lot that I could tell him that I couldn't tell you guys, and vice versa. So
I mean,
Alright.
I have been developing code, and I do have how the syndicate was.
Well, while you've been inside here, we've been trying to get a handle on our next move, and Doomtread has a lead on a vault. Evidently, there is personnel still stationed there that might be able to have some more higher grade work for us. Because, as I was telling our compatriots, even though there are currently high-level threats active, we aren't exactly in a good position to address them. We need to build our forces up before we attempt to go after, well, everything that's transpired in recent days.
Well, I don't know if that would be information that Uvon would be interested in knowing, but at the very least, you're all witnesses, and
what I
corroborate
told you
story.
wasn't for your friend; it was for your own situational awareness. We move as a group. We need to figure out what we're doing next.
Right.
I did try to replicate the code that the syndicate tower was using before it fell apart, so I could give that.
Yeah. As you're all looking at this, you realize that there is a, like, conspiracy maniacs web just on every surface out here in Doomtread's little backyard.
So I look around at this and I look back to your reach. I didn't take you for the type.
Listen, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I need to have all the information I need. I'm scatterbrained right now. Once I get organized, this will be organized.
Okay. So.
But I do have a code that I was making within the tower while I was able to observe the machine.
Then you have your tasking for the next few days. Enkos, I want to know, have you heard from your agency, or was it just your friend?
I'm gonna slam my head back against the pillow. Yeah, I heard back. I am no longer employed.
Well...
I mean, this is the second time I've dropped off the map for days on end with no warning after what must have been, from an outside perspective, me potentially blowing my job. If they even know I'm involved at all.
I
fact
understand.
that they bothered sending me the fact that all of my messages I got through were automated and not actually sent by a person, including my supervisor, means that, for all I know, they may think I'm dead. Might not have bothered, and the bot just got to me.
Well, I don't know what your plans are regarding your former employment, but if you think it's advantageous to get in touch with them and hash things out, it might be worth doing.
At the very least, I want to give Uvon a straight story. If the agency's done with me, then fine. I've been kind of putting off this this little divorce for a while now.
Okay.
But I at least want his second opinion before I make any.
Well, then maybe it's best we
Permanent
stick
answers.
around so we're all appraised of your situation. And, I'm gonna look towards Vaku if he's here.
Yeah.
What have you been doing the past
Going
few
up.
days?
First day, I've wandered around town, but nothing worth doing here.
No leads, no anything?
Just been kind of. Nah. Almost got mugged by some shady
So,
grifters.
upon hearing that, I kind of tilt my head up. Good to know. From now on, we'll move together through this slum.
Yeah.
I don't want any of us to get cornered by some two-bit thugs. Alright. Well, then I reckon we're just going to be laid up here with you for a few days then. At least till Uvan gets here.
Well, he'll probably be by it today, so it's not like wait too long.
Right.
It is not like an hour or so after you end your conversation that you see, pulling up at way too fast a speed to be safe, immediately the car of Ufon, like, stops skidding almost. The door opens and Ufon hits his head on the door on the way out and just goes, "God fucking damn it." Walks over to the rest of the group and you can see that he is in a heavy leather coat, not his institute clothing. And just kind of
Do I-
trudges over. We
Do I
need to find
recognize
somebody.
this some type of like battle dress almost for him?
You can definitely tell that this is like him trying to be casual, but failing miserably and looking as conspicuous as possible. And as soon as he gets within earshot of everybody, he's just like, "We need to find someplace private to talk right now."
Come this way. We have a very secured area.
Am I in a position to get out of this bed?
I imagine at this point, this being the end of day 2, your leg has been probably through some pretty nasty shit. But given the
will-
state of medical technology in this current era, I imagine that you are capable of walking with extreme pain. It is recommended that you continue to rest.
I will, just for a few minutes, I suppose. Getting up won't kill me. I'll grab a crutch and we'll make our way out of the clinic for a few minutes. I'll tell the doctors or any quizzical staff that I'll be right back.
Yeah, they all acknowledge that. They do tell you to keep off of that foot as much as you can. Those bones are still setting.
Yeah, and I take one of the crutches and kind of like tap it with the other crutch and keep going.
So, as you all make it, presumably to Doomtread's backyard, he takes a moment, paces around most of you, and then, like, kicks something large and heavy and causes it to, like, visibly shudder back a bit. Then he looks back at the rest of you. This has just gone from, like, bad to worse. You even realize what the newscasters are broadcasting right now?
No, we haven't had time to get into those.
They're showing live feeds of you two, and he points to the Moth and the detective, fucking with the terraformer before it came on.
Oh.
You
I
are
should've
wanted
figured.
by every local police agency in this region,
Why am I not surprised?
not to mention by the syndicate at large.
So I'm gonna suppose that there's not a 7-foot tall snake-eyed woman somewhere in any of that footage.
Fucking who?
Do you see? Is there any footage being displayed where it seems that we are talking to somebody that's not there?
No.
So they just completely didn't include her.
Stursk
All
had an
right.
assistant. And
You talking about fucking, what was her name?
Alpha.
he called her Alpha. We have reason to believe Alpha was tampering with the mental state of everybody involved in this fiasco. Low-level psychic abilities.
Low level, huh?
Well,
Well,
formerly
ye-
low-level, now much worse.
I'll have to ask what that means right in a bit. But, at the current moment, the police are looking for you.
There was no footage of
Any-
Alpha.
No, I just said that.
So in all of the footage that's being displayed online or through the news websites, they managed to conveniently leave out the fact that there was a third No, a fourth person there with us, Uvan, the person that's actually responsible for setting off these terraformers.
Well,
I don't know
Um,
if it was some type of stasis field, some type of telepathy. I'm not sure, but we weren't in our right state of minds.
you're saying that you were being mentally manipulated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please tell me, for the love of God, that the footage at least shows the part where I'm desperately trying to get Yarich off of the damn controls.
I mean, there's a part where you're all fucking fighting with each other, but
Yeah, because I came out of the trance. Yarich didn't.
Jesus.
Yeah, Ari just
Whatever
curled up in the
Seccaro
ball.
related equivalent to Jesus that there may be.
Yisub.
Yeah, Yusub. There you go. Same with Boogle.
Hate.
The Boogle bin.
You know, every time that I talk to you, I feel like I would believe myself less and less.
I'm gonna be real, I kind of thought that you two were straight up responsible for it. I kind of came here to get an explanation and see what came next.
Bullshit. The
I
fact that you
thought I was
that
shutting
and-
the thing down. I was tricked into seeing
You
the thing
know-
being activated.
We know, Yarich, we know. At least I know.
I'm sorry. Here.
Do we have access? Do you know of any way that we could get access to more of the footage from the facility?
God, I mean, at this moment, getting any, like, solid information or recorded camera data would be probably trouncing through a military base at this point.
Assuming there's any evidence left, the person that tricked us most likely has covered her tracks and deleted any trace of existence. If there was footage out there of our conversation with her at the foot of the panel, it's probably been burned.
So, all right.
So
If I
what's-
can't,
okay, so what's going on with the houses right now? Last time I checked, you were in the middle of a nasty firefight with half of the nobles. What's been going on there?
Well, the houses have been eerily quiet. And that raging battlefield, God, you should have seen the way that they moved. As far as I was aware, it looked like they were heading for a full evac. They managed to fend off the Cindies that were, well, trying to pin them down, bring him in for questioning. As far as security knows, they think that this was a Baldur operation, that you all are spies.
Quite frankly, I don't have any type of way to disprove them other than my own word, and we all know that doesn't matter for shit.
And I'm sure the fact that we were legally his guests makes us guilty by association.
I'm just trying to get that image out of my head. 5 fucking fully armed soldiers just disappearing in the blink of an eye, turned into bloody gore by that hammer of his. That fucking Tiberius.
So,
Goddamn.
So who fired the first shots? What kicked off into an actual firefight?
Oh, God, I'm trying to remember. If I recall, looking over that footage,
Oran
I've got some things to tell you, but like for the moment, I'm working off of memory. That's all we need to know right now.
Oran is going to get a copy of the code that Yarich was making while inside the facility, trying to figure
Uvan,
out.
you mean?
You give it to Uvan, and
Uvan.
he looks at this code and is just kind of like, I don't know what this is, but we'll figure it out later.
That's the code that was what the syndicate was using to try to figure out how the terraformer work.
How do I even use this?
It's more or less the evidence I was able to get for you guys.
Oh, well, that's another question. So, has anyone been able to investigate the terraformers at all? Are they working, or are they falling apart?
Can we solve the first question first?
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've got this random flash drive. I'm just gonna put it in my pocket. God damn it. All right. So, as far as I'm aware, it looks like that the Baldur fellas tried to make for the exit, and soon after that, there was a call coming in that there was a sabotage ongoing at the terraforming plant. As soon as that call went out, It was claimed to be a house affair, and that the nobles were to be taken in for custody and questioning. And from that point onward, I believe it just got ever more violent. As for who fired the first shot, I mean, I don't have access to the camera footage, I'm sorry.
We have no idea the information about it being a house uprising, if it even was a house uprising. This could be a third party just trying to create conflict. I mean, if anything, that seems like the most logical answer. I don't know why the houses or the syndicate would start trying to reignite war after all this time.
Alright, the second question. The terraformers?
Right.
Nobody's sure what they're actually doing, but those things are, definitely working.
I have been trying to put together a new code that'll be able to identify everything.
So
So far, I have a working theory, but nothing more.
So it's at this time we can say it's inconclusive whether or not the terraformers are working in a beneficial or malevolent way.
Suppose so.
Well, shit, that's
There's
something
all likelihood that they were telling truth and that the thing was just missing pieces. That would, the worst, cause maybe more radiation, maybe bad water, or
So, I can say at least that whenever everything went sideways, I was following the original mission. I got into Stursk's good graces. He even let us onto the platform, and I was going to start looking around, seeing if we could find anything that our teams hadn't been let to touch. Didn't find anything beforehand. Of course, I guess I have a bit of light corporate espionage for you. Stursk said that it was in his plan to maybe let the planet fester a little bit longer, make the property values go down, and then whenever it was nice and cheap, he's going to let all of his buddies buy in and then get the terraformers working again.
And that's another thing. Stursk is dead.
Yeah, not surprised.
He died in the collapse of the platform. Nobody's found the body yet.
Can't say
From-
I was too close to the guy.
from what we could see, there's also something underneath the platform, so he might have gotten consumed into the machine itself.
That's an uncomfortable thought. Alright, third thing I'd like to talk about. Neither I or you are with the company anymore. As soon as I saw that they kicked you out, I basically hung up my badge and went.
At this point, I look at him with a very confused expression. What? Me leaving didn't mean you had to throw your job away, Yvonne.
Ankos, I've been doing this job for 2-3 decades now. I lived for a really fucking long time.
Well,
I don't
glad-
know how to put this, but you are worth more to me than the company and some money. I needed to find out what was going on, and I couldn't collude with you without leaving the job. So as far as I'm concerned, I'll find a new means of employment. I'll make do.
Yari,
Shit, I don't know what to say. I mean, other than thank you.
Whatever I can do to help.
But, man, you're painting
Well-
a big target on your back right now associated with us.
I don't give a single shit.
Quite frankly, I still have no idea what to do with ourselves. We've come to the consensus that, amid the grand conspiracies and all of the myriad problems we're faced with, it doesn't matter. We're not strong enough to do anything about the state of the world right now. We need to work on investing in ourselves.
I think it's clear that something big is happening. And the best we can do is to prepare.
Well,
we are planning to go to a place where there's a artificer hung out in one of the major bases left behind, and see if he will hire us to do some stuff, or if he has any means for us to do stuff.
I'm sorry, man. I'm kind of a lone wolf when it comes to work. I'd love to run with your crew, but
I'm not.
How
I'm
about
just saying
this?
what our plan is. I wasn't really trying to include you.
well,
that's
our
fine.
our efforts don't have to be mutually exclusive. We've got numbers and a bit of competency, despite all despite how it appears.
If
We can work
you-
on getting material wealth, trying to establish ourselves better. In the meantime, we need to find a way to clear our names. Because I don't really care what the houses do to us. I don't care what this backwater planet thinks of us, but I cannot have I cannot have a bounty on myself in Cynic space. That'll shut down any possibility that we could ever have peacefully again. Which, unfortunately, clearing our names, is going to mean solving this fucking thing.
I've got an idea, but it'll take a bit of doing.
Well, nobody has any illusions that this is going to be an easy or short road. Hit me with it.
I think I'm gonna go city side, start messing around in dirty places. Maybe if I'm lucky, I can figure something out with the, God, what the fuck is its name? I'd never troubled with myself because I had never thought of myself as a mercenary. But there is a interstellar network. Mercenary board, if you will.
Fugitive Recovery Network.
It's bigger than that. That FRN is only a system-wide affair. What I'm talking about is something that you collude with well, it's... Vigil assigns tasks. It's entirely dependent on where you're at and your locations, but, I'm sorry, I don't know too terribly much about it. But I can do some digging around with it. Maybe we can find something.
It's a shame. We had a friend that probably would have been able to give you some mentors about the solo mercenary life, but he just kind of got up and left.
Who?
So,
Darian.
the
The
big,
green
tall
armored
motherfucker.
fellow?
Yeah, that guy.
Alright, so tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm going to figure out what I can about this mercenary board. I'm going to skulk around, I'm going to do some investigative work. I'll come back, let you know what I've got. You all get money, get strong, get ready.
Alright.
Suppose it's all we can do. I mean, after all, we've made a lot of enemies as it is, and right now we're not in a position to start throwing hooks. I'm gonna be laid up here for probably another day or two, but once that's done, we're getting out of the city and we're gonna start trying to bolster our resources.
He kind of gives a toothy grin and that almost very sharp smile. So it's against the world, guys.
At least one world.
I'm just saying, let's make them regret their decision.
I'll start talking big like that whenever moving doesn't make me feel like I'm about to implode.
He gives you a nod. I'll be back. Make
Take it
sure you
easy out
keep in
there.
communication.
Yeah, I'll send you daily updates whenever I can. Don't go without hear. If you don't hear from me for more than 2 days at a time, well, let's hope I'm just in a blackout.
And gives you another nod. Walks off. Gets in his car. Hits his head again. And at this point, he just kind of gives his car that very, aggressive, I'm going to replace you look. And then shuts the door and drives off.
The look someone gives their coffee table after they've stubbed their toe one too many times.
I would say at this point it's probably unlikely that we will be able to. Hold on, 447.
Yes.
I wasn't asking for you. I was just thinking. Okay, so me and Enkos can definitely not go back in the city. We don't know about you. You might be able to go in and get the.
Well, no one
Trade in.
exactly answered my question, but I'm assuming since we were on Ankos's guest list, all of us are marked.
Yeah, even if you're not actively wanted, you're absolutely going to be wanted for questioning.
No doubt about it.
There's no way in hell they haven't tied association together with all
Criminal
of us.
conspiracy, colluding, who knows what else. Accessory to this crime.
If you all are interested in this, you can make a culture check, Orion, to check the criminal database and see what you guys are currently being charged for.
Also, needless to say, from this point on, I am furiously using different networks and VPNs to do literally anything on my tool.
And at this point, we come to our sponsor, NordVPN.
Shut the fuck up! I fucking hate you. Oh shit.
May I
Not
try
great.
to do a similar check, but with computers?
I would say that running through databases would be more of a knowledge check. I would say
Not-
that you are skilled in the efforts of acquiring information about, let's see, matters of physical science and medical, like medical related affairs.
Alright.
So if you wanted to make a knowledge check utilizing whatever conventional technology that you have at your affair, that would be a knowledge check instead of a computers check. Computers is like understanding the structure, the inner structures of a computer, and manipulating and programming them.
Alright, I'll just roll a straight intelligence.
So
All right, a 12.
I'm going to assume I did not find anything.
So because of the nature of this affair, the both of you, keep in mind, have just been involved with a crime that is potentially, like, very major in this local area.
Comparable to 9/11, yes.
Every news bulletin basically has this on display.
This is shit you could get executed for.
Your technical charges are treason, damage and sabotage of, like, commercial property, and murder.
But I guess what they're asking, or what they were asking, is it the entire party or just them?
It is everybody that was involved with the party.
All right then. Well, yeah, no, every single one of us has been burned from now
Yeah,
on.
most of these news reports give you a general outlook that they suspect that they were involved with the sabotaging of the terraforming plant and the murder of 3 individuals in the bottom of the manor.
Oh. Wait. I look at the 3 individuals and I go, who? And I want to see if I can find the names of the individuals that got murdered.
Because of the low nature of the knowledge check, you cannot find their names.
I was gonna say, what the fuck? We weren't even tangentially related.
Tabitha and her guards. They vanished after some time. Didn't see them again. They must have bit the bullet somehow. And we're
Well, I
gonna
can't say
take the
that
fall
I
for
missed
that one
them.
too.
Kind of glad somebody waxed her, but I'm pissed off
But it
that I'm
wasn't
being blamed.
us.
Yeah, I'm mad that I'm being blamed for it. Well
The
then.
point is, we're painted and we're not going to be able to go anywhere.
Well, we are. Any future moves from this point on, aliases, disguises, never show your face. You're gonna pay for something, you pay in some type of physical currency. No credits, no bank transfers.
I'm sorry, no credits? I haven't seen anyone pay for anything with anything but credits.
No, most of you come to your senses that credits is essentially a private currency that you keep on person. You can deposit credits into a bank, but, like, the bank would handle that transaction then.
Well, either way.
So
All of
credits
our-
are a private purchase. You can use them like you would cash.
Okay. Well, there's that at least.
Especially if they're on anonymous data shit.
Okay, well then, as long as we're at least somewhat careful, we can continue up with that. But as far as the aliases
All
and
you
showing
see
your
is
face,
gold.
none of you dare get caught in front of a security camera showing your, without a covering on of some kind.
They never saw my
Yeah.
face to begin with.
Well, in your case, you might need to take the helmet off then, because that's going to identify you. Or just don't go outside. I feel like one of those two things is more likely to be your course of action. Really
Gonna
like
be
your damn helmets,
unmasked,
don't you?
brother.
But I am going to need new armor. Period.
At the very least, I can see. I don't know. Have you ever thought about buying a poncho for that fucking thing?
What?
Sir, going blanky mode.
Anyways.
I reckon at
Yeah.
the very least a new helmet, and then I don't know. This isn't my armor. It's not mine to repaint.
Well, I mean, we're gonna have
Let's
to
go
go back
back
to Gilead anyways, so we can give it back to Stu whenever we've gotten you a better suit. I'm sure in a backwater like this, there's got to be at least one shady arms dealer, but it's not like we have the fucking. You know what? Before we do anything, let's go raid that goddamn vault. We're broke as shit. Can't really talk about what we want or what we need when we have nothing.
I would not recommend raiding it.
Not. It's
Well, here's
the
thing.
only inhabitant there is not hostile. It's not going to be a raid.
Oh, right. Sorry, just a bit of a mindset. 'Cause, all the shenanigans we typically get in.
Look, my primary concern right now, in terms of practicality, is that we have saved 1,578 credits to buy that vehicle, and we were just 372 away from being able to make the purchase, assuming we trade in Tim Tom's old buggy. Now, being marked like we are, getting our hands on that thing's not going to be the simple transaction it was. Unless...
Oh no, chances
well,
are there's going to be a transaction like that's probably going to require some type of registry, and that registry and wanted criminals go together like oil and
that
water.
dress tell man wasn't exactly the most above the board person.
Yeah, but think of it like this: Do you think that there's not a bounty on our heads right now? The tip-off for information about us would be worth far more than he'd ever get for that truck.
You might be right.
Maybe you could rely on, I guess, a bit of a honor amongst thieves mentality that he should make a reputation of burning clients, but we're not just clients. We're not small-time thugs in the eyes of the public anymore. We are seriously dangerous and malevolent motherfuckers, and even a guy like him wouldn't get flack from anybody for turning us in.
At the same time, he doesn't want police attention. He was very clear about that.
You guys cops?
You guys cops?
Enkos, you raise good
You tell
points.
me if they're cops, right?
You raise good points, but if there's anyone on my list of contacts I trust in this kind of scenario, unfortunately, he's our best shot.
Well, then here's my suggestion. Maybe I ask Uvan to be a face for this transaction for us.
Possible. Very possible. But
Either
then
way,
again,
we still need more money.
Then again, if Uvan goes there with that money and that buggy to trade in, he's...
The buggy's registered.
Tell is going to be able to put two and two together and realize he's fronting for us.
Yeah, you're right. I mean...
I'd rather not put your friend in any unnecessary danger, given he's sticking his neck out.
Yeah, I forgot the car was such an obvious tell, but how about this? Let's pay a visit to this vault and see if maybe we can get away with not even using the buggy, or in
We're
the
not
meantime,
going
trying to find
anywhere until you can walk on your own feet.
Get back
Fine.
to the hospital. Back.
Back to the fucking terrible nutrient paste mix that's supporting your hyper-extended metabolism.
Frankly, we're lucky. We're lucky it looks like this
this
slum doesn't have good TV reception.
Oh,
Well, I feel like what's more of the issue is that nobody out here wants to deal with the cops any more than we do. Like, I'm pretty sure our doctor friend's in violation of at least 13 different medical codes that could all land him in prison.
You think that would outweigh the potential bounty he'd get from turning us in?
Not at all, but I'm trying to be positive here.
I think it's more likely somehow they just haven't found the information.
Oh,
I want to keep it that way.
well, if that's the case, then, Yari, just make sure that the TVs around the clinic aren't working too good until I finish my stay.
Okay.
sabotage.
Yari just going and hold up one of his clogged hands to his forehead.
You can fix them when we leave, damn it. Just make sure that they're not getting too much information, too much
And I
entertainment.
hate to
Understood.
let Kiliad down, but given what's happened to our reputation, I don't think hiring a mechanic for them is going to be possible anymore. We're just
Well,
going to
right side-
have to return that car to them and cut our losses.
Well, on the bright side, though, whenever we do go to kill you, it'll just be like old days, because ain't nobody there. No one there's gonna know what the fuck happened. It'd be a great place to hide.
We're going to have to go back on our promise to find them a mechanic, but we can at least give them that car back, and ideally I can return this armor I'm borrowing.
When we explain that to Stu, I'm gonna give him quite the Cliff Notes version of what's been happening. I'd rather him not think that we're dangerous, too.
Point is, I don't think we're going to be going back there till I have new armor. I'd rather not have to make multiple trips.
So,
Well, unfortunately... Go ahead.
you all are going to spend some time here.
Waiting for Ankos to recover so that we can get on the road towards that vault.
So you spend most of this day conversing and organizing plans and getting ready, packing up your shit now that you've settled down in this little
I'm going to
backyard.
actually reorganize all the weird code into something actually resembling a proper set of letters.
I will allow you to give me another computer's check. A 20. Progress is slow. This thing is, after all, like ancient and a noble technology. 30s got you by, 20s aren't gonna cut it.
Fair enough.
That being said, though, as another day passes, Ankos, you get another 4 hit points and jump up to 9. You're feeling better, but still wounded.
Well,
You
I
can
guess at
spend
this-
a result to get your stamina back, though.
I was gonna say, so I'm at least halfway functional. I will use my resolve to get my stamina back up to full amounts, and honestly, I don't want to stay here any longer. The longer that we're here, the more chances of us being compromised. We need to get moving.
How many days of treatment did you pay for?
The doctor
3.5.
kind of just, like, takes a moment and, well, if you're leaving, I guess I'll have to compensate you. Huh. So, let me think.
I think we were here for 3 days, right?
Yeah, you're just here for 3 days, which means that you're skipping out on half a day's pay, so... I think it'd be fair to give you back... I'd say around 76 credits.
Honestly, quite generous.
I mean, I'm not trying to fuck you over here.
All right, well, fair enough. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but it's time to get on the road.
No worries about it. It's my purpose. I'm here to help people.
Well, I hope one of these days I can repay your kindness, but business calls me elsewhere. Have a good one, sir.
I'll probably be dead in a week. You have a good one.
Oh.
Antenna's gonna fold back.
What makes you say that?
Oh, I'm in a lot of debt.
When he says that, I'm just gonna push 50 credits back towards him.
No, he waves you off.
Just, come on, man. You can't
We're
say
both
some,
in a
you
bad
can't say
situation.
some shit like that.
I'm gonna put a hand on Ankos' shoulder. We're not doing so well either.
I insist. Honor among thieves.
Oh Christ! All right, fine. I'll come back and buy a beer next time I'm in town if I'm still alive.
He gives you kind of like a...
2 men on borrowed time. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Keep fighting the good fight, Doctor.
Gives you a nod. You will depart. Start heading your way. So, you take the buggies, you fill up on gas, I'm not going to charge you credits for that, and make your way out into the forests surrounding Hollins.
Yep.
Traveling the plains away from the city is not that hard, but once you got into the boundary of the nearby dark woods that just kind of surround most of this fucking surrounding region in Drovania, your progress is slow and grueling like it was getting here.
Right. I would just like to say we're going cautiously and trying to avoid getting taken by a giant fucking bird again. I don't want to take any risks that will result in this car that we found for Kiliad getting destroyed.
Hilarious.
I'm driving that car in particular since I'm, to the best of my knowledge, the one with the highest driving skill. And
Except for me.
Oh, you think your driving skill is higher than mine?
I have a 7 in piloting.
I have a 7.
We're
both are
tied.
Okay.
Stack up some books. Let him take one of the cars. That being said, though, you need a navigator. If you're traversing the wilds on, like, beaten dirt paths, because if you're going after the Vault, you're not taking main roads.
Yeah.
Not to mention, a lot of main roads are currently being watched right now.
I'll
Isn't
be-
Baku
I'll
a
be
fairly...
447's knife.
I got like a-
Gator.
I got like a +4 in survival.
I'm looking
Not
for people with survival. Yeah.
Oh, survival? Me and Vaku have the same thing then, so it doesn't matter where we go.
One person in each car.
Yeah.
All
I'll
right,
be a
so,
navigator for Vaku.
I'll say, who wants to be the lead? Because somebody can assist, somebody can actually make the check.
I would
Guess I
trust
could be lead.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I was gonna. Yeah. Okay. Good enough.
So Vaku, you'll make the check. Ankos will go to assist. You'll meet up every day and basically say like, well, I mean, this path isn't so bad, and you know, we could take this. So you will continue to grow deeper and darker into the forest
Wait,
as
hold
you
on.
reach day 1. What's going on?
Never mind. This feature does not apply for this. Go ahead.
That's fine. But with a total of 8, the task is grueling, and you start getting into some real bumpy rides. Your progress is cut in half. By the beginning of day 2, most of you are getting pretty hungry.
We do have rations still.
You
We
do,
do.
but you
We'll
would have to
use-
expend a single use of them.
Yep.
I will wait a day before
good.
using one of mine.
All right.
Feel good. Use a ration.
Yeah, use a ration.
Good.
Day 2. All right.
Day 2.
So with
Aren't
the
those meals we originally got back in fucking Gilead?
Yep, they're preserved meals.
They're MREs. It's fine.
Yeah. I believe that Gilead had specifically prepared these trail rations for you, so they are built with the intention of being nice in quality and preserved.
Salted rat meat.
No kidding. So,
Burgers.
at the beginning of day 2, this grueling journey potentially has the chance to ease up. So, lead, go ahead and make your roll. Assist, make your roll.
Alright. Let's roll.
It's a
Nice.
bit better. Oh, hey.
Nice.
I'll double your bonus from a +2 to a +4, meaning that the total check for Vaku is 20. So, you go ahead and, meeting up at the beginning of the day, you realize, like, last night ain't gonna cut it. If we keep rumbling along like this, we're gonna, like, get a fucking hole in the tire and we're gonna get a flat on the way there. So you meet up, you gather around some of these, like, survivalist paths and some of these, ranger trails and start taking those instead. This urban car that is meant for the city streets is having a fun time rumbling along these roads. It's gonna need some modification maybe later in the future if you give it to Gilead. That being said, though, the day hurries along quite quickly, and I'd say that you'd make up for the first day's slack. So, Tyler, did you want to expend a ration?
Yeah, I'll spend my ration this time. I'll
Alright.
skip a day because I only have one more after this.
That's fine. We move into day 3. And at this point, I would like our lead man, our survivalist, to go ahead and make a perception check.
All right. Do.
I guess both of you can be lookouts,
Well,
that's fine.
Either one. I figured the person that's not the driver is the one that's doing the looking around.
No, that's okay. As you all are driving through these hunter trails, and on day 3, near the beginning of the day whenever you guys are all basically packed up and rumbling along, it becomes pretty apparent that you're being followed, but that being said, you do get a beat on it. It looks to be a local wildlife. In fact, skirting around in the brush, kind of following along and keeping trail, almost protecting its territory, appears to be a large wildcat, eyes gleaming in the darkness as it's following you. But that being said, for day 3, I'll go ahead and say that, yeah, this day passes without much mention. Since you're in vehicles, this cat doesn't seem to try and attack you. We pass.
I mean, sometimes they do attack, but...
Well,
not-
it's not
Do you really want to
interested in
force an
attacking.
encounter here, Tyler? Do you really want
You know
that?
what? It leaps right out and gets caught underneath
Yeah.
the wheel and dies instantly. No, it's gonna stay in its territory. It's fine. We move on to day 4. Now, day 4 is where you start making your way through the forest in some particularly treacherous terrain. So I would like our lead man and our assistants to try and plot a good course.
Survival?
Angus
Yeah.
gives a good assist.
All right.
Vaku, so for a total of 19, you plot a decent course. Now, with that roll, you do eventually come across what appears to be a crevice. The bridge that was supposed to lead through here has shattered long ago, and it will be a pretty significant effort to get these vehicles down the slope, cross the trickling river, and back up the other edge of the slope. So 447 and the Moth, I'd like you to give me piloting checks to see how well you do.
Alright. Where is
I'm
my
guessing.
piloting? Right there.
It shouldn't.
Oh, I'm
Oh.
going to reuse my one
Damn.
to reload.
Wow, those are not good rolls.
I'm
Oh,
using
shit.
my memory module to re-roll.
Nice.
Well, I'm glad you have that
Give me the
option.
reroll.
How often can you use that?
Once a day.
That's fucking crazy.
So here's my new roll.
Thank fucking Christ.
A 14. Yarich, as you are going with Centurion at the lead, he seems to be crawling and just kind of very much cutting the day's progress in half just because of the result of a 10. You coming in behind him follow the same trail. Unfortunately, the route that Centurion took left a hole in the ground that quickly covered itself in water as the wheel pulled itself out. this urban vehicle gets sucked into that hole and begins spinning. And you start panicking and panicking until you start cycling through your internal cybernetic augmentation and going through some kind of mental calming patterns. Before you take a moment, you make sure that its exhaust is not under the waterline. And then you basically get out and, with the combination of your friends, push this thing out of the hole. It is no longer stuck, and you make about the same progress as the Centurion.
Alright.
So you cut the fourth day's progress.
Could have gone
you
way
rather
worse.
extend it out by half. At this moment, you are reaching what is likely the edge of the forest here, and the path becomes much less treacherous. I will
After
no
a
longer
crucial
require-
day, I'll use my last meal.
Yeah, I would say that at the end of the bad day, people would probably need to expend rations again.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Speaking of rations, I'm kind of hungry.
Good.
Gotta get
you're
something
out.
to eat.
Oh shit, you're right. Okay.
Oh, I didn't use it.
Okay. So
Real good has no use left. Do I just delete it now?
Yeah, I've deleted all of the records of it. That way we can keep our chat clear. As we all come out of the forest line, the beginnings of day 5, you leave this place and begin venturing on some plains, grassy, rolling hills. Although, something strange happens. You start hearing a ticking, and you look down to the bottom of the urban vehicle, or rather, no, sorry, it would be Tim Tom's buggy, and find that sitting on the ground, there appears to be a rattling sound, an almost crackling, and you see Tim Tom's radiation badge is coming to life.
Oh, the Geiger counter?
Indeed.
Shit. Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna go ahead and suggest that we fucking stop.
So
Why
you
are we
all-
Probably
stopping?
pull away.
Well, unless you want to grow another arm, we probably shouldn't go too much further.
Yari's just
Radiate-
going to check his stuff. Does he have any way of seeing radiation with all his stuff?
Did your personal toolkit include a radiation badge?
I think my personal stuff comes with a lot of that type of stuff.
You should check it.
Uh,
I should say that I shouldn't be responsible for trying to determine that. Let's see, custom rig. This acts as... You can use your rig as a personal comm unit. I don't see anything about a radiation badge here.
So assuming we're all on comms and talking, I'm gonna bring the urban vehicle to a stop. Look, if I recall correctly, and I might be recalling incorrectly, the last...
I would say that you are driving Tim Tom's buggy because you were taking the lead.
I am?
Yes.
I thought I was in the urban vehicle.
If you were taking the lead, because I had mentioned that whenever you were crossing the water, you had created a hole that you escaped because it's a buggy, and then
Okay.
the moth drove it through and it sank into the hole.
Well, regardless, over the comm, I will say I might be recalling incorrectly, but the last vault we were at, I'm fairly certain, also had a level of background radiation that was picked up by the Zuri Geiger counter.
Oh. Hold on. So, how severe are the levels of radiation on the Geiger counter? I probably should have asked that before stopping the convoy.
You go ahead and pick up the radiation badge.
Yeah.
It is giving you a flickering warning display, but it seems to be going away as you're currently talking.
It's incredibly weak. Okay, well... Do I know if medicine to scrub away radiation sickness is a thing?
It is.
Okay,
It's just
well,
that radiation basically is a condition that eventually inflicts radiation sickness, which is a disease.
Alright, well, it's light radiation. Honestly, standing next to a microwave would probably give you about the same amount. Let's just keep going.
At this moment, you hear in the background just, not true. As Doomtread is following you.
Doomtread, you were at this vault prior. Was there any kind of background radiation you were able to detect?
No, this is a recent development.
Good to know. We
How
should-
much further till the bolt?
Judging from the path we've taken, we are likely a days out.
I say we
Think
press
that's
on.
not- Yeah.
Might as well have gotten this far.
As you continue to drive and to tread in Doomtread's case, it should be mentioned that Aspect is riding in the canopy. So you are not currently able to talk to her unless you got on comms or wanted to get out and talk. That being said, though, by the end of this day, eventually you do find, embedded within a series of evidently false hills like the last installation, is a door. One that is similar to the House Baldor crest that opened the other one. As you approach it, you do see what appear to be two cameras lining it that immediately lock onto you. And this is where I will call for a momentary break.
Okay.
Alright,
pull
I'm gonna
up to
go
this
grab
vault.
some dinner and I'll be back.
Yep,
I
I'm
guess I'll go ahead and
Restroom
pause the
snack?
recording for now.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind running to the store.
So, all of you approach the store, the camera is locking onto you, and before you have a chance to respond or talk, you hear a click and a bit of a deep rumbling, and the doors slide up into place. The inside is a bit, what's the word, grimy, but for the most part intact. It's not scattered and ruinous like the last one you visited.
Alright. Yarich is going to gently take the lead if no one else will.
I'll walk just behind him.
Are you guys getting out of your car, or are you bringing your cars in?
Let's bring cars.
Yeah, let's bring the cars in, I suppose.
You go ahead
Yeah,
and
that'd be a good idea.
pull the vehicles into the vault. In this main entrance area, it looks like the main doors are closed, hence that you won't be able to drive the vehicles into the workshop, but you'll be able to disembark here, and you hear the doors closing behind you as Doomtread enters. At this moment, he kneels down for a second, lets Aspect get out, and then goes to address the front doors. After a second of just pure silence, they begin to grind open too.
So I'm gonna look back towards Doomtread. You tell this artificer about us in advance.
I believe that I have.
Good to know.
Well, I'm glad he seems a little receptive to some company.
I wouldn't say that.
Alright, well with that, if the doors are opening, I'm gonna go ahead and go forward.
Yeah, you're gonna go ahead and squeeze your way through as the doors begin to open. Keep in mind that these are doors meant for, like, potentially gargantuan-sized machines to pass through.
Mm-hmm.
So, you make your way further in, and it is exactly the same as the other vault. You get a sense that they were built in
Fabricated.
the exact same way. They were fabricated in the exact same measure. However, in this one, all of the lights are completely turned off, but you can hear the grinding and see occasional flicking sparks of machines operating in the background. The only thing that is lit up is in the bottom level floor, at the very front of the vault. There is a workshop table with a bunch of robotic arms that are currently busying themselves with work off to the side, and an individual draped in these almost velvety red robes, currently with cybernetic arms, working on what appears to be a rifle laying on the table. With his tools, occasional sparks come off of it, and he kind of turns it to get a better view at certain aspects, as he apparently is doing detailed work to this fine creation.
So I'm
You wanna
gonna
go ahead and approach him.
I'm gonna nudge Ankos. Feel like doing some talking.
Yeah, sure, why not? I'm going to step forward and address the individual.
What
I
do you
assume you've
say?
all... So, I assume that Doomtread has already introduced us to some extent.
It's almost like a whisper or grinding against metal. It comes. Volknia, what have you brought me? And he looks up and you see, what is very clearly the bottom half of his face has been replaced with what appears to be some kind of artificial respirator. And the top half, what appear to almost look like glazed over almost diseased eyes stare out. But the way that the machinery is built and assembled, you get a sense that he is looking at you with more eyes than just these organic pieces. At which point, the war machine behind you grumbles. The same people I discussed before. I believe they may be of use to you. Very well. You may introduce yourselves, if you wish. And he goes back to working on the piece.
Well, I guess no good business relationship should ever start amongst strangers. I am Orion, a detective by trade. And then I'm going to gesture to whoever happens to be off to my right. I guess for the purpose of this, we'll say it's Vaku.
Hey, good. Just mercenary. Let's do some jobs here and there.
Centurion 447. Soldier.
Yarich, I am a mechanic and a computer expert.
I guess I'm turning on push to talk.
Wise choice.
As you finish your declarations, he just kind of makes an almost a wavy motion with his right hand. And your royal titles.
None to speak of.
Very well.
Not yet, anyways.
I am done with these pleasantries. My name is Galtea. What brings you to my fine establishment?
We were informed by
Vulcanir that you had work for us. You wanted capable people in exchange. You can help us out.
I said I would think about what applications you would have, not that I had work for you. He kind of takes a breath in with a shudder, and you get a feeling that though he is breathing, like, he hasn't really made that motion at all since you've walked in here, and is using it more as a emotional expression. I suppose I do have a task for all of you. I would ask what you expect in recompense.
Well, it seems like in this society we found ourselves embroiled in, credits are what tends to get things done.
though.
The common syndicate saying, cash is king. Am I right?
I reckon so.
Indeed it is.
Fair enough. I do have work for you, if you will take it.
Depends on the
let's
job. Let's hear it.
I have a salvage team leaving in 2 days. They will need escorts. I have been having problems with marauders in these lands. You will protect this depot, and as a reward, I will give you this cash. And that's followed by a series of him fucking with this rifle. And you can see as he turns it over in his hands, it itself, at first glance, doesn't quite impress you. But the inner workings are definitely of a level that it's like beyond simple mass manufacturing. He is putting a lot of individual work into this.
Sounds like the kind of job we might be able to handle, but the question is, what's the pay, precisely?
I would say your services would be... What would you say to 500 credits? The journey will be dangerous.
500 credits to split or each?
500 credits to each of you.
I say that's fair.
That's the best deal
I
I've been
would
offered.
say that's incredibly fair.
This is not a simple decision. I said the road is dangerous. My salvage caravans have been attacked each time they ventured into these wastes. You will be forced to defend yourself, and some of you will die.
Yari looks at others and thinks, we've already died, but doesn't say it.
When he says
I
that,
said-
Pompous bravado.
when he said,
I said, he thinks it, but doesn't say it. Did you not hear me?
No,
Jesus.
I didn't hear that.
Jesus Christ. Well, what I will say is, I know these bandits have given you trouble, but in the past, we've scuffed up our fair share of marauders. So
Then don't let your guard down. If you expect to be alive and to be paid.
We managed to drive off a gang of trained mercenaries from sabotaging a water purifier in the set of Kiliad.
I don't
have
care of your
some
previous
degree-
accomplishments. If Volknir vouches for you, that is good enough for me.
Very well. Given that your job is perhaps the best paying I've taken since coming into this line of work, I'm in no position to decline.
neither am I. I'm
You may
excited.
stay here for the 2 days in preparation, or you can camp outside. Your choice. Don't touch anything.
Very well.
is-
I would like to know a little more about these marauders if you have any pertinent information.
Then ask away.
You say it's dangerous. I want to know what kind of armament we're dealing with. What sorts of weapons do they typically use?
They use ambush tactics. My robots would barely have any time to report information of their attackers.
I see. And do they behave like trained mercenaries, or are these mere bandits?
They perform nocturnal operations. They have only attacked at night. They
I
are
see.
professional and they are swift. Without mercy.
Access to any hardware?
Mr. Robots.
Do they have vehicles of any kind?
From what little information I gleaned, they would have to have a decent arsenal to take on my salvage teams.
I see. So you aren't
At
sure
this
if
point,
they
he
have...
is growing from kind of a rumble into this very grouchy old man.
So you aren't sure if they have any kind of heavy armor.
No.
We'll have to account for that then. We'll assume the worst.
That is a good idea.
Human?
Potential.
We know
We'll
that
have
in
rations
some
for
of
the
these woods there have been reports of elven hallowed court activity. That's not something I was going to rule out. They seem very vehemently anti-technology.
To the ignorant, maybe.
How so?
Their technology is beyond us in most capacities, but it is built for a different purpose. They are a magical society, you see. Their magic and their technology are infused and intertwined.
That said, they, at least the ones we encountered in these wilderness areas, have been very defensive of the local wildlife. I wouldn't be surprised if this was some kind of hallowed-related activity. They might think you're encroaching on their territory.
Posh with them.
We're on the
I
same
will have
page.
my materials.
Believe you me, we're on the same page about that. I'm no friend of theirs.
He kind of eyes you up and down. I believe I recognize that place. It's an old standard for Syndicate Rangers.
That's not what I was, but I did end up with this armor from a friend.
You could use an upgrade.
No doubt. No doubt.
Speak with me in a moment.
Very
I will
well.
finish working on this. And as for the rest of you, there are plenty of shiny trinkets around here. You may think it wise to kill me and take them. And you hear this whirring, and you see the glowing barrels of anti-tank weapons hissing in the top ranks of this vault. There are stationary guns that are pointed towards the entrance. I would advise against that action.
I'm just gonna raise a hand and kind of just do a waving away motion like I'm dismissing the notion of that. Even if you weren't armed, that's not how we operate.
And they begin to cool down. And his head kind of hangs back towards his work. And he continues to work as the only source of light in this entire facility.
Now, your reach, I believed you also had a question for this gentleman.
Do you by chance have any rations, even if they're poor? I personally ran out.
I have a stockpile of preserved goods, but it is not meant for your tastes. It will not be good.
I'm alright with that. I've dealt with worse. Well, probably.
How
Probably
much
not.
do you wish to buy?
Yarich is going to put 15 credits on his thing and offer up 15 credits worth?
You see a slender, almost skeleton-like arm creep out of the robe and take the credits and then draw back in.
So I would like to roll, if I can, a profession soldier. After speaking to this guy, would my intuition about this being potential Halicord activity be correct?
Go ahead and give me a profession check then, considering that was a part of your career.
There it is. Okay.
It's definitely familiar, reminiscent. A lot of hallowed court operations tend to act in either the dark or the light. The light tend to be almost mystical knights, whereas the dark are definitely along the lines of stealthy operators and rangers.
And it would be in character for them to stop any incursion into their territory for someone who might be trying to harvest resources.
It definitely sounds like it could be them.
Okay. So my intuition is potentially correct.
Potentially. There's no confirmation until...
Yeah, of course. This is just my hunch. Alright, well, that's all I had for this guy business-wise, I believe.
Could you put the how much you would? All right, thanks.
I will return to him before we head out to inquire with him about that armor upgrade he was offering. But for now, since it seems he is done talking and busy, I'm not gonna bother him. Anyone else?
I don't really have anything at the time being.
So, Moth. When you basically manage to get away from this dude and get to a secured place where you guys are all talking, eventually, out from the darkness of the surrounding vault, you start hearing a chinch, 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 and you see a small spindly droid with a singular camera eye holding a shitload of rations. They're covered in this mass-produced packaging and appear to be very much probably ancient. But as it drops it into your willing arms, you all watch the moth get crushed underneath the weight of all of these.
This was... I'm gonna be more careful.
If that's what 15 credits gets us, that might be enough for the whole party for a week.
Okay, so the thing about this, what he's given me 15 field rations, each 1 week.
Oh my. Well, I guess we don't have to worry about food for a while. Fuck.
Yeah. Good job, Yorich. You have handled our sustainment issues.
A field ration is packaged food that sustains you but lacks flavor or visual appeal. Field rations are constant of chewy, brownish block of processed nutrients, which contains enough moisture to provide a day's worth of water intake, while it's possible to survive a week on nothing but field rations. It's not a pleasant experience.
I imagine he's saying as he's reading the back of one of these.
Well, I've had to survive on MREs in the field before. Can't be that different.
These are worse than MREs.
Well, nonetheless, I at least made a good decision, I think.
I'm not concerned with how it tastes. I'm concerned about not starving on the trail.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm kind of slightly concerned.
About taste?
This is probably gonna be like biting into a fucking protein brick. I mean, it's fine.
Exactly.
You do what you have to do, but Oh man, I am not looking forward to food.
Or at least season it.
Listen, I'm just saying, if I see a piece of wildlife that stands still for too long, I'm probably just gonna pop it and cook it over a fire.
I mean,
And
not a bad idea.
But regardless, we're fine. Complaints aside, good job, Yorich.
Alright. Yarich is going to take this. Actually, he's going to leave the pile on the ground. He's going to go to the buggy, grab one of the mini pillow bags he stuffed into there. He took off the pillowcases of mini pillows and just has a bunch right from the. He's just going to stuff a bag full of this rations.
Have you been carrying pillowcases with you this entire fucking time?
I
The ones that are reinforced with plaster of Paris.
No, what I did was when I took off the pillowcases from the one place and stuff a bunch of extra just in case we had another incident like this.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I've been carrying. They've been carried on Symptom's buggy, but
Okay, well, until this convoy rolls out, I'm going to take as much rest as I can. So, staying out of the weather, even with these anti-tank cannons pointed at my fucking face, I'm just gonna find a place
They
inside
are
to set up a guard.
hanging dark up into the ceiling, pointing far away from you. But they are suspended above.
Comforting.
Yari's just gonna wait until Ankos is completely out for the night. Then he's gonna see if he can help him with his leg problem without waking him.
So a stealth check and a medicine check. Nice.
Do you have a medical kit?
Man, Tim Tom.
I would grab one from Tim Tom's buggy.
Tim Tom would beat the
That's fair.
fuck out of you for performing medical on a patient who didn't consent to it.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a medical check. Medicine.
Come on.
27.
All right, now give me your stealth check, you son of a bitch.
Oh boy.
Oh, fuck you.
Perception.
Oh yeah. Let me get that shit.
Oh my
Well.
god. So,
Yo.
is this affair of, like, extreme skill of binding wounds and of, like, quieting yourself, of setting down shit very particularly. But in the end, as you are binding it up, you accidentally make a singular slip up, and Ankos turns over in his sleep and sees a moth attached to your wound.
Yarich, you mind explaining yourself?
You still look hurt. I cannot.
As he's like stuttering and yammering, I'm going to lean up and look at what he was fucking with, and I'm assuming see a fairly well-dressed wound.
It is professional grade.
I'm going to see that and look back at him and go, "You do good work, but don't fuck with me again while I'm sleeping, or I'm gonna fucking." Never mind. Just thanks, but please ask next time.
Okay. Okay.
It's good work. It's good work. Just please.
So
don't-
I assume since we're all in the same place, I'm in earshot. I'm just gonna kind of idly say, if you were a field medic and you did that without consent, you'd get court-martialed.
Eyes go wide a little bit. I'll keep that in mind.
It doesn't matter. There's no one here to
Well-
court-martial you.
Well, that did take some pressure off, at least. Well, anyways, I guess I'm gonna go back to bed.
Yeah, you go ahead and get some sleep, and eventually, after a while far into the night, Galeta takes his rifle, seemingly satisfied with his work, and gives it to a robotic arm which takes it further into the facility, and kind of clasps his hands together and waits.
And this is late at night.
Yes.
I would I would guess most of us are sleeping since he offered us shelter here.
I
Fair
mean,
enough. If you all are sleeping, you're gonna wait until the morning.
Yeah, probably.
yeah, I mean, just whenever the call is to start departing.
He did say he wanted to talk to 447 alone.
Yeah, he clasps his hands and waits a good 15 minutes and then just goes and then holds out his hand and another seemingly similar rifle is placed into it and he begins to work on that one.
Yeah,
This
I'm sleeping.
lasts until the morning.
I'll speak with him in the morning.
So, by the time that the morning rolls around, there's not much distinguishing day and night inside of the vault, so you just kind of wake up whenever you're finally rested.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do all of you do?
Well,
since you're in the middle of this dark establishment with nothing but your own personal light sources.
since I've given him time, I'm gonna seek this man out and speak with him.
Yari just going to go back to the code he was working on before and make a save of what he currently has, just in case he makes a horrible boo-boo.
Make a save of what?
The code he's made so far.
Yes, the code. Okay, fair enough.
I guess I'll
And
probably go with
He's
447
going
just
to then begin working anew.
Fair enough. I would say that we'll resolve this before we get to Ankos and 447. Go ahead and make a computers check. Progress is again slow, but, I mean, at least you're getting something done.
Alright.
Vaku, you want to do anything?
What's there really to do in this little bunker here?
If that's your decision.
I don't know. I'm just gonna hang around, I guess. Maybe just look around at the various
Excellent
techno-
choice. In that case, we'll just go to 447 and Ankos. You go ahead and stand to the side of Galeta as he finishes his next project. And you can tell that what he is currently working on right now is a very tantalizing offer. Because what he is working on right now is a shoulder pauldron that appears to have a projector that houses fucking missiles. This is probably out of your price range, but
Right.
by the time that he is finished with this shoulder missile launcher and puts it away. Alright. Like piranhas to the slab of meat freshly immersed in water. Come forward.
Very well.
You want new armor, yes?
It would be appreciated.
He gives you a brief look around. Like I said, that is old substandard Ranger plate. I could give it its modern-day updates. I've had plenty of Ranger corpses to pick through and sift through their upgrades. We could go with something entirely new if you wish.
Well, I believe that, given our financial situation, a straight upgrade would likely be the more affordable option.
This is only partially correct. Upgrades will still be as expensive as the new suit. Refits are costly in both manpower and materials.
Well, this is a borrowed set of armor, so if I can source an entirely new suit to replace it with, that would solve one of my main problems.
Do you have any materials on you?
Do we have any leftover universal base polymer from...
No.
I believe that it was expended fixing Doomtread, and even then those repairs were temporary.
I don't have any material, but I do have 100 credits to my name. Not that it's much.
Put the credits away, we'll work something out later. He gives you a good look over, and I mean a good one. Tell you what, if you are so insistent on keeping your flesh intact with that Ranger plate, I could upgrade it to the Mark II variant.
So, we're talking about upgrading this existing set rather than procuring a new one?
Indeed.
I'm in no position to argue.
I don't know how I feel about constructing an entirely new suit without pre-existing materials. Both things are costly, but one is more attractive than the other when you have things on hand.
I see. Well, if that's our option, then I suppose I'm open to it.
Very well. He extends out his hand.
Do I get the sense he's going for a handshake, or...
Give me a sense motive check. If sense motive
Sounds
even exists.
good. It does.
You get a sense that he wants a handshake.
I'll go in and clasp his hand and give him a firm handshake.
As you do so, you release after giving him like a forced handshake, and whenever you let go of his palm, his hand is still outstretched and he looks kind of pissed off.
You said to hold the credits.
Give me your armor, nitwit.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna go ahead and start fucking unequipping my armor.
I imagine as you're releasing plate by plate and setting it down on the table, each one is actually pretty heavy. It's been slowing you down pretty fucking badly. Each plate hits the table until eventually you're left with nothing but your helmet. And whilst you're standing next to Ankos, you turn over and you do see a bucket sitting on the ground. It looks empty.
Well, there's nothing that says I have to be wearing a helmet constantly. It's just been something I'm doing for flavor since, like, you know... Yeah. I mean, I guess I could put the bucket on my head for shits and giggles.
Well, are you going to stand around and waste more of my time?
I'm going to kind of get a grin behind my helmet, grab the bucket, and just quickly swap the two.
Yeah, you have to, like, duck your head down now that it's out of sight of Ankos. And whenever he comes back up, it is just 447 in very, like... It is the loose civilian clothing that fucking... That
Stu lent to me.
Gave him.
Yeah.
And a bucket. It's like a Skyrim NPC. As he looks at this suit of armor and just goes, a pitiful excuse for protection. And he starts working on it.
I shrug my shoulders. I'm gonna wait in here until it's done.
You're gonna watch him work on it?
Yeah, through the bucket.
Through the bucket. What do you think, Ankos?
Ooh.
I think Hooper's not here.
That's fair.
Push to talk. Push to talk. Very nice. Cool. I've been talking this entire time. I'm gonna look at you when you put on the fucking bucket and say, "What is your deal, man?"
What? I don't
Just-
know. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Ankos.
Either you're incredibly unaware or you're just trying to piss me off at this point.
I don't know what you mean.
Do you have something wrong with your face? Why do you have such a problem with
No.
people seeing it?
Nothing wrong with my face. It's a perfectly human face with human facial features. Human,
Why would you say something like that?
human
And
eyes.
yet-
Human eyes, a human mouth, even a human nose.
You know, when you say things like that, I straight up don't believe you.
Ankos, you know as well as I do there could be snipers perched anywhere. You know how many people I've
Oh,
lost because
bucket.
you know how many people I've lost because they took off their helmet at an inopportune time?
God.
You need therapy.
Those hallowed snipers will swoop in and just take your dome off if you're not paying attention.
There's paranoid, and then there's whatever the fuck you are. But alright, fine. If that makes you feel safe and comfortable, do you.
You're the one who's being weird about it, Ankos.
I twitch.
I cannot see your eye twitch.
Because he's got a fucking...
Because I'm wearing a bucket on my face.
My God.
I'm just gonna leave.
Like, realistically, I wouldn't care about showing my face. I just think this is funny.
I know. I just have to give you shit about it, because
Yes.
this is a ridiculous situation.
Yes. It's not like I'm a Mandalorian where there's like a fucking religious code or anything.
It's just a matter of...
I just
Not-
like the fucking Halo 1 Master Chief takes off his helmet and underneath is another helmet thing.
As Galeta continues to work on this ensemble, he occasionally makes comments underneath his breath, kind of just muttering about how shitty this really is. And eventually, he kind of stops for a moment and says, "Don't you think?"
Don't I think? Last I checked, I do, from time to time.
No.
Don't you think this armor is subpar?
It wouldn't have been my first option, but it's what I had access to.
What do you think you most need of it? And you see that
Well,
there's this almost dangerous stare under his eyes, as
I-
if this is his obsession.
I rub my chin underneath the bucket. I have noticed that while it is fairly protective, it is also rather restricting. I'm not able to move to my maximum capability the same way I could in my old suit of armor.
Then you would want a suit that moves with you.
Precisely. Something that lets me move to my full athletic potential.
Well, I don't know you well enough to construct a suit of powered armor for you, but I could help out.
I'd love to hear more about that.
There are methods of, well, increasing your mobility in suits of these armors. In fact, I've utilized many systems of elastic braces and joint support structures to reduce the stress that exerts on your body. It allows most users to move faster despite their bulk.
And this is a system you're thinking of integrating into this set of armor.
Yes.
That would be beneficial.
And it will be done.
Excellent.
And continues working. So
it's at this point
he is going over it very thoroughly.
It's at this point I'm thinking to myself, if it's going to be upgraded to the point this man is talking about, I might have to find a way to pay Stu back for it rather than returning it. But that's neither here nor there.
It was a retired or armor and not something he used anymore.
Well, regardless, it was his and I was just borrowing it, but if it's being upgraded to be something a little more practical, then it's something I might not want to part with. So, we'll see.
As he continues to work and work and work, he works well into your first day of stay with him. Keeping in mind that you got here pretty late.
Right.
And by the end of the first day, he eventually takes a break and leaves his counter and heads further into the facility.
I'm not gonna meddle with him, but I will stand over his work and just look.
Yeah, he disappears into the dark. What you do find is that that very same plate that you were wearing has a bunch of new ridges and open circuitry all over it.
I kind of
It seems that there are a lot of new support structures kind of built in, like a interweaved lace, almost a grid that's meant to help support your body.
Kind of comment to myself, I don't recall this armor having integrated circuits before.
It looks expensive.
I assume this is going to come out of my pay and just leave it at that. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to touch it, I'm just giving it a glance over.
Eventually, an hour or two later, he comes back and begins his work anew. So, in the dead of night, late into the first evening, he eventually rises from his position, and presuming that you're slumped over, like crouched and sitting up against a wall, his head swivels over towards you, and immediately, almost like an animal screaming, just goes, "Hey!"
I kind of jolt awake and the bucket rattles over my head.
You're almost done.
Alright, let's, I can't rub the sleep out of my eyes because I'm wearing the bucket, but I just... let's give it a test run.
You get all of the plates assembled, and as you were connecting each individual one, they go on much smoother than they did before. It looks like the fit has been adjusted to you properly now. As you put your bracers and your sabatons on, and eventually slip the helmet on over the bucket, you see a minute amount of light weave over the visual display, and you get a very simple counter. I took the liberty of adding some small adjustments to the suit, free of charge, but you still do owe me for the main thing.
I reckon it'll come out of my pay.
Oh, it will come further out of your pay than you'd think. This costs 2,860 credits.
I kind of blink behind my helmet and just, right, well, it's not the first time I've been in debt since waking up.
Consider it a working debt. We are now in good relations.
Well, I do need regular employment.
Does your friend need anything?
Equipment-wise? Might consider asking him directly. I don't know exactly what his needs or wants are.
You should talk to all of your friends.
Sounds like a plan. Though I am curious, you said there were additional upgrades free of charge. What precisely were those?
Well, I've added a minor computer system to host and facilitate many upgrades that we may further implant into the machine.
I see there's a counter here in the upper left-hand corner of the heads-up display.
It won't work just yet, but in the future, in case you install some custom hardware, it would be useful.
For keeping track of ammo, or...
Well, in truth, the idea of mounting weapons onto a set of heavy armor is flawed, but it is possible.
I'm more referring to, say, a remote link between whatever weapon I'm using and the heads-up display that can keep track of how many rounds are in the magazine.
That would take a bit more work and a neural uplink.
I see. Alright, well...
I can't help but notice that you do have some minute cyber augmentation.
Minute is a mild way of putting it, but yes.
And to my kind, it is very, very minor.
Right, well, you observed correctly. What of it?
Just thinking on things. And he clasps his hands together. Go talk to the others. There's work to be done.
I'll see if they have anything they may desire. And with that, before I head out, I want to ask you, Levi, what exactly does this do?
I'm updating your inventory now.
Okay, great, cool. So,
As for the free of charge upgrades, they are things that do not take effect yet, because
Alright.
they are meant for further upgrades down the line.
fair enough. I suppose I am now basically this is basically indentured servitude in space, but given that
We're now equipped with Golem Forge Plating Mark II with Mobility Enhancers Mark I.
nice. So I'm gonna was I at Golem Plate Mark 1 before?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna return to the party. Does the armor look much different visually?
It is definitely, you can tell, a more spiced up variant of the original. You get a sense that by studying dead rangers, which isn't a good sign, he has basically implanted some of the further upgrades that was taken in their later model lines.
I see. So I would look rather different, and people might not be able to visually recognize me as someone who's wanted by the Syndicate.
You stand upright a bit more than you did previously, however, there wasn't a paint job or anything included with this.
Okay. Well, I can think about painting it later. Does the helmet look much different?
I would say that the helmet looks pretty similar, except for the fact that you can tell that there's some digital weave laying in the visor.
Now, what I wanted to ask that I didn't get to, is it hermetically sealed?
No.
Ah, okay.
That's something you'd have to ask for.
Fair enough.
There
So,
are open pockets, like, underneath your helmet.
that basically answers all my questions, then. So, I'm gonna return to the party in my shiny, upgraded set of fucking Mark II Golem Forge with Mark I mobility
You notice
enhancements.
that it is much easier to work in, and it is only a -5-foot speed adjustment instead of a -10.
Very nice. I'll check. Does that actually? I think that actually did help with that. Oh, yes, it did. Awesome. Okay, my acrobatics and my athletics are actually usable now. Okay, so I'm gonna return to the party, and I'm going to.
So, I want you to notice that, seeing as this is dead night, Yarich is currently typing on his screen that's currently turned off, and he's sleeping while typing
Oh, God.
nothing. He's typing nothing, but his arms are still in that motion.
So
Good Lord.
I'm gonna try, I guess, to wake everyone up, knowing that this is not really urgent, but you know, just it's business I want to get out of the way. And once I got everyone's attention, so I've been talking with our employer.
Galata.
Right. I've been talking with Galata. I was about to say Galate because I'm bad with names. I was talking with Galata, and he upgraded my armor to a much more functional state. He has extended the rest of you the opportunity to indulge in some gear upgrades as well, though I should advise you it will involve incurring a significant amount of debt.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if he's offering this is expertise we're otherwise not going to have access to under normal circumstances, I think I should probably take him up on this.
Would that be Galaeta?
Huh?
Just ping your contacts into my system.
What contacts? What do you
Never
know
mind.
about me?
That you are an artificer?
Okay. What are you, tit for tat?
A mechanic with high skill in programming. I'm
There's
not.
this blank and empty stare. Sorry, I think I wandered off there. What were you saying?
I'm okay.
Good.
Yari just going. Hold up a thumbs up, trying to smile.
I'm gonna shake my head. The point is, I didn't want to wake all of you, but our host is a impatient man, for good reason.
Yes.
So
So-
get with him, see if there's anything you might want to upgrade before we head out.
I've been thinking about getting a stealth suit for the longest time, but I don't
kind of
have
stealth
any
suit?
money.
Makes you quiet, makes you invisible. Speak fast, I don't have
Uh,
much time.
Both preferably.
Both.
Yeah.
You're insane.
This is...
I know, that's why I only envision this as a long-term goal, not anything I get short-term.
Well, being insane
suppose so-
isn't a bad thing.
I suppose I could just get the one for quietness, and then add the invisibility later, if I had to choose.
I don't work much on, how do you say, subtle equipment. Most of the things that I use are designed for the fastest and heaviest strike possible.
I think.
Something that could enhance my speed wouldn't be too bad either.
That's something I can do. I'll think about your stealthy operations later.
Yeah.
I might
What?
be interested in having some ability to gather resources myself, so that I may be able to work on things independently when comes time.
What? Speak plainly.
We might have to be a little more specific, your reach.
I would like to get some sort of drone set up so that'll help me collect parts for things that I want to work on.
Interesting. He kind of leans in, and there's this almost creaking of ancient metal as he leans over you. Do you wish to walk the road of the artificer?
His
dear.
eyes widen in excitement. That sounds fun.
Yarich sells his soul today on yeah. I was gonna say Sector fucking Wario, whatever the fuck the meme was earlier, and I forgot exactly what we were calling it. Sector Mario or some shit.
Sicario.
Sicario.
Level 21 now, by the way.
Cool. But I also said Wario, so.
Well, no, but it's saying Sicario that brings it up a level. 22. I need to put my dog outside. I'll be back.
He leans back into his seat and says, "You're far ways away from having your own drone, little one. But that is something we can work on."
That might be something comes later, but right now, I need to continue working on some coding. Yari's just going to turn on his little personal unit and begins double checking his stuff. That's probably for the morning. Turn it back off.
Well then, you wanted light armor. What about you? He points his hand over towards the detective.
I am back.
Well, I suppose if I need anything, it's something to help me have a bit more of an edge in combat. Do you have anything that could aid in target acquisition with small arms, namely handguns?
Interesting. So you're saying you're incompetent with your own weapon?
My skills lie elsewhere than weaponry, and I'd like something to supplement my deficiencies.
He kind of gives you, like, one eye, and the other eye squints down real close, where he's giving you a real good look over. Well, I guess that depends on how much of your brain you want me to scoop out.
Preferably none of it, but what exactly does that have to do with being a better shot?
If you have to scoop out his brain, can you at least preserve his shining personality?
Was that supposed to be a joke?
I thought it
Yes.
was funny.
I lost my ability to feel humor ages ago.
I see.
Sucks to be you, I guess.
What did you say about me?
Yari's just going to put his little claws over the bird.
Well, I didn't say anything.
That's what I thought.
I didn't see a damn thing.
So, anyways, what does sacrificing my intellect have to do with being a better shot?
There are augmentations that let you, let's say, make up for your natural deficiencies. In your case, I could install a synaptic accelerator.
And what would that do to the rest of my cognitive functions?
Well, in the short term, it would allow you to process information faster and send impulses through your body more effectively. As for your
Okay.
personality, I guess it depends on how strong a will you possess.
Quite frankly, if the cost for being a bit quicker on the draw with my weapon is potentially losing part of myself, that doesn't seem like a fair trade, and I would like to invest into other opportunities.
Suit yourself.
Okay, well, being a better shot's out of the question. There's no point in making me a harder hitter. Being faster at the detriment to myself. How about this? Maybe some type of data scanner. Oh my god. Data scanner
You
or
know-
information processor.
You
A
know
data
it's in your
scanner.
soul.
Shut the fuck up, Baku. Yeah, maybe some type of glasses that could be worked in as some type of haptic overlay that I could use for things like recording video, audio, trying to use it as a backtracing tool for sifting through large amounts of raw data in a short amount of time.
You're wanting glasses that are a computer.
Essentially.
That's very interesting. Do you own a computer right now?
I have a small PDA, but its processing power is fairly lacking.
May I see it?
I hand over my PDA to him.
He taps a couple of things, and then he breaks it with his hands.
Part of the process, I suppose.
This thing was trash anyway, and he tosses it aside. 7 credits worth of computer. What the fuck? He turns over and begins rummaging in this, like, basically around these individual components. Well then, I don't suppose that I'm capable of giving you too much, considering what I gave your friend. But I could work something out.
If this is something that's you have to sit on for a while, that's fine. We have a mission to go on after all, and if that time could help
He
you
kind
come
of
up with something.
whips around and gets right into your face and says, I am the best at what I do.
Half tempted to say we'll see about that, but quite frankly, I don't want to provoke this man. He seems very stable.
He's a stable genius.
We'll see about that.
Well, anyways, as he says that, I'll just say, well, I'll leave that to you then.
I'll be done in a bit.
I'm just gonna kind of flex my arms a little. He seemed to do well enough with this armor. I wouldn't doubt him.
I believe that from his own mouth, he said that he works better with hard-hitting, fast-moving types of modifications. This is a bit more along the lines of sleuth work. I'll be interested in seeing how well he adapts.
You heard him. He's the best at what he does.
We'll see.
You just see him, like, shuddering away on his little fucking cyberware, just kind of going like, fucking critics, doubters.
Fucking haters.
I'm just gonna say I wasn't being facetious. I was only echoing what you yourself said.
No.
I'm not gonna say this out loud, but I just want you guys to know that for context, your each contact list, he puts Galatia, Artificer, gougy man, but kind? Question mark.
Kind.
At some point, I want to make a point to Tyler that losing your sense of humor and all of your
Yeah, that's
creaturely, yeah, exactly. You're literally thinking about selling your soul here.
Augmentations don't necessarily mean you lose your humanity.
Well, in his case, it sure as fuck did.
I am a product of genetic engineering and augmentation. There's more cybernetics in my body than there were any other living thing at the time of Concordia's prominence. I'd like to imagine I'm still very human.
Well, it looks like the bar's been raised, my friend.
Maybe so.
It's not just been raised, somebody grabbed the damn thing and threw it into orbit.
My point, ultimately, Ankos, is that I don't think you should turn your nose up at an implant.
I have several.
If I ever get my arm twisted to the point where I feel like I have to have one, then so be it. But right now, I'd rather be as much of myself as I can possibly be.
It just kind of helps me with quick thinking.
Something that makes your eyes quicker doesn't necessarily take your soul.
Yeah, it's also not going into my brain, to the best of my knowledge.
I don't know enough about neuroscience to comment on that.
Neither do I, I'm just being hopeful.
So, you all wait around for a bit until eventually he comes back. You guys are basically sitting around and chilling out and talking about shooting the shit, basically, considering that you've got nothing to do, and it's nearing the time to head out. Until eventually he comes back and is very, very, very delicate in how he sets these things down. You get a sense that there's a lot of strength behind Galeta, despite the fact that he appears to be a frail old man. And he sits down on the counter what appear, at first glance, to be glasses. But as soon as you pick them up, you see the lenses flicker with a bit of light. A bit of holographic projection onto a polymer base. And translucent, but should be what you're looking for.
Alright, well go ahead, I'm gonna put them on and ask, go ahead and run me down the feature list.
Well, it has all the basic items that you would expect of an average computer. It has a camera built into the side, the left specifically. As for your data sifting policies, I took one of my own personal collection, a mere tier 3 computer, but it will suit your purposes.
Okay.
It is much better than your personal comm unit.
And if I can use this to link up with a primitive basic PDA for things such as message receiving and all this, then I can be receiving correspondence and trading information real time while I'm doing anything else. This would be a great undercover tool.
It will store
what's the
more
batter-
data than your previous one. It holds a larger battery.
Okay, what's the battery on this thing, and what's the life expectancy?
Well, if you want to go over the meager details, it should last, on average, twice as long as your original product. Those cheap mass-produced comm units are worth nothing nowadays.
That's fair. So this camera on here, what's the quality? Can I use the camera itself as an artificial telescope using a zoom function, or is it not quite that good?
It should mimic the functions of any professional photography equipment.
That's quite good. It's very good. I'm pleased with this work. Now, how much does this set me back?
Miniaturized technology with a built-in expensive camera like this does not run cheap. But he kind of visibly grumbles as if he didn't really remember to account for how much the camera was. Give me a moment. Ah, yes. No, I remember it being listed in our backlog. Oh, let's see. 130.75 plus... should be... 1375. Well... on average, built into this computer... you could expect it to have enhanced low-light sensitivity, and in fact I could see in complete darkness with a range of 60 feet around average.
Oof.
And compared to your... wait. No, I'm just being senile. I thought you had a camera for some reason. It should study or store up to 24 hours of footage.
Very interesting. So I can, I don't actually have to make a conscious effort to make sure that it's recording small snippets. I can, clip.
You could
as opposed to
personally edit
previous
things
points.
of not noting, whatever, I don't care.
Fair enough.
You could manually trim down footage during the day to prevent and save space.
Alright. Alright, so, I'm thinking a number for this. Maybe somewhere between the realm of 2,000 to 2,500 credits. What do you
You're
think?
close. It's 2,750, accounting for all the components. I will not budge on this price.
That is fine. I wasn't going to ask you to. You're only barely above what I projected, so... Alright.
Well, you're
I
in
guess I'll-
debt 50 fewer credits than I am.
Yeah, you got a whole suit of armor, though. But I got something that's going to be of infinite amount of use to me.
As for you, I took the opportunity and cobbled together a suit of light armor from back there. Well, I didn't quite make it, but it will work for your purposes.
I assume he's talking to Vaku now?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Originally, I got this from a reconnaissance patrol whenever House Baldur was still kicking around. It's a lightweight, form-fitting suit of flexible carbon fiber, as well as a couple of blended fabrics. Its real priorities are ease and quickness of movement, especially in harsh environments. In any
Sounds
case,
lovely.
it is yours, but I do have to ask. Maybe we can do with some upgrades later in the future. This one is not quite able to handle them just yet. Your debt to me
Yeah,
is
that's-
a meager 1,275.
Alright.
Good. I hope you enjoy it. He simply tosses the weave onto the table and turns over and begins to sort through his random shit. And as for you, Artificer Apprentice, I've got something for you. And he
Alright.
turns around and pulls out what appears to be a sphere.
You must
Yeah, I-
ponder this orb.
He
Yeah, he
simply
just,
it waits for you to
Onto the
approach
orb.
and then extends out his arm Not like a bender extendo arm, but just letting it come further and further out of the robe until it's about face height with you. And you can see that it is covered with multiple technological lines that give you an idea that it is perhaps capable of unfolding.
Alright. I'm going to take it and examine it.
What you have in your possession is precious to me. When I first got into this craft, it was the duty of their teacher to hand down tools of importance. So I give this to you. It is your very first salvage drone. Take good care of it.
Yari's just going to pat down top and say, I'll do my best. I won't let anything happen to it.
It is priceless to me. And your debt will match that. You have a priceless debt to me.
Christ.
It seems you're putting quite a bit of faith in us for having just met. I hope we will not let you down.
My mentor said I doted too much on the lessers. He was a foolish man. And he's also long dead. He kind of swivels around just to match the rest of you.
If Doomtread's word means so much to you, then we'll do our best to honor that.
At which point, you hear a deep grumbling from the machine that hasn't moved in the past couple of days. Galeda, is it ready? And you start to hear this snicker. Yes, Volknir, it's ready. Come on, all of you. Come and see this.
Alright, sounds
He
good.
turns over and starts walking. You hear the little clinking of his cyberware moving across this workshop floor. As you all proceed into the darkness of the vault. That is where we will end tonight's session.
Oh boy, we get the kind of cliffhanger that's gonna be like opening a present on Christmas morning when we come back.
Yo. We got new gear.
So, question:
Fuck
Do
yeah.
do my glasses have the thing where there's like a little button in the middle that lights them up so that I can do that fucking anime thing?
Oh
where,
my
like,
God,
the,
I
the
hate
know-it-all
you,
guy
but
pushes them
yes.
up with his middle finger. And
It'll cost you 3,000 extra credits. I'm just joking.
Jesus.
It's a feature now, definitely.
I'd like to imagine that it's like a backlight. It's a completely unnecessary feature that I've just fucking jury rigged in there to look like a fucking doofus.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the recording off here, I believe.